Futures pointing to a slightly lower open coming up this morning, coming off another negative week, end of negative week last week, despite some better than expected earnings to kick off earnings season from the big banks specifically. We'll get more from the banking group today, including Bank of America out this morning with a decent report. We'll also talk a little bit about some tech stocks coming up this week. Tesla obviously going to report on 420 because that's how Tesla rolls. Netflix coming up this week as well. We'll get a little bit of Netflix action this morning in the pre-market. Overall, though, markets coming off negative week, as I mentioned. The S&P 2% to the downside last week. 2.6 for the NASDAQ, 0.8 for the Dow. Following the holiday on Friday. Traders getting back to work once again this morning. Twitter back in positive territory this morning. Obviously, the poison pill, all the rage as far as the Elon deal for, or potential Elon deal for Twitter. We'll talk about that. And Mullen Automotive going to start their battery production coming up here. So we'll talk a little bit about Mullen this morning. It's Monday, April 18th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, numbers to deal with to kick things off so far this morning. You can see 0.3 for the S&P there, back to the downside. It is the NASDAQ. Some of the tech names back in negative territory as well. 0.45 for the NASDAQ, just getting back into the red for the Dow as well. The TSX futures here in Toronto, 0.25% in negative territory. Bitcoin and Ethereum continuing their slide as well, coming off a bit of a negative showing to end last week. And over the weekend as well, some volatility coming back into play. So let's figure out the story here today, because last week it was me that was away, Arun was here. Neil now under the weather, so Neil is away, Arun is en route, we hope. But Sean is back. Sean, no, he's not en route. So it's going to be an interesting day. Arun, we'll see if he gets here. Tony is going to be somewhere in the building. We're hoping at some point this morning. Sean, good morning. It's good to be back. First of all, I hope everyone's well. I hope everyone had a lovely long weekend and a nice week last week. But I mean, we're into earnings. We're into some big names this week, including Tesla. As we said, the 420 show coming up on Wednesday.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, so yeah, glad to have. Hey, what's up, Neil? How's it going? Not too bad. How's it going, Arun? That's good. Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to fill that spot with somebody soon here. As a little bit of lack of planning, piss poor planning prevents proper something. I don't know. My dad has a line there, but yeah, we'll get this all figured out, guys. We'll get a trader beside me here. Glad to have Brendan back. How was the vacay, by the way?
It was wonderful. I had COVID, if everyone didn't notice. So yeah, the first few days were not the greatest, but once that was out of the way, everything was fine. Yeah, it was nice to get a little breather. We were down in Prince Edward County for anyone around.
Did you get to any wine tasting?
We actually didn't, because I was testing positive the entire time, which was slightly disappointing. But we did enjoy the fresh air and got some outdoor time, which is nice. How was your week?
It's always nice to have my week. Yeah, my week was fantastic. But no, actually, it's a funny thing because yeah, I was battling like flu-like symptoms all week, and then today I actually feel pretty good. So I'm gonna put this bull here in Neil's chair because honestly, that's kind of what we need here today. So we're gonna get that going. But yeah, no, it was actually a pretty good week. We were really successful. We shorted a lot of different tech stocks, including AMD. And again, I put out the sticky note. It's abbreviated today. We had a lot of preparation to do today, so just a couple notes there on the sticky note. But yeah, we're excited. We're gonna fill the chair. What would you guys think about if we put Tony in the chair? I'm just hoping that the Toronto Tony gets in here pretty soon and we can do all that. But yeah, look, the market's staying to the downside one more time today. Oh man, this really sucks. Like I almost feel like it's hasta la vista now for this market a little bit, with Apple finally giving up the ghost here as well, heading back down to 160. That's going to be a little bit of a problem. Twitter's obviously going to be on watch today, and yeah, it's just going to be an exciting one. Crypto, Ethereum's back down below 3. I don't know if you saw that, and then Bitcoin also down below 40 right now. So wow, it's going to be a very, very exciting day, and I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. All the high-flying stocks like DraftKings, Palantir, as I just look at the board, some of these names getting clocked down today. The NASDAQ's trying to battle back, which is nice. We're only down 0.36. But let's just get this party started with a couple notes here. Bank of America out. And now the market's rallying a little bit here. Pretty strong. Look at this move here. Nice little aggressive move in the NASDAQ all of a sudden, starting to get right back up. When I sat down, it was, well, not when I sat down, but when I started to look at this, it was like doot, 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 all the way to the downside. Because I was thinking, okay, we're rocking. And then now a nice little move up. I don't know if that was headline driven or what, but market's starting to head back up. So maybe we can switch over to a long instead of short buys. But I'm going to be short Apple and AMD here today, I hope.
Yeah, going to be some headlines, it would appear anyway, some Ukraine-related headlines, maybe pushing us back to the upside, but nothing standing out terribly significant at this point. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. I hope you had a wonderful long weekend and welcome back, everyone. Have a great, profitable day. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, apparently the light took a long weekend as well there. We'll fix Miss V's lighting and get it back to normal. Yeah, nice little push back to the high side here, 43.80 now on the S&P. I mean, still 0.2 to the downside, but definitely a little bit better off than we were when I first sat down this morning. It was back to basically session lows at that point. Crude oil, a bit of a story so far this morning as well. 107.50 here in the pre-market, back in positive territory. We're going to have Frank Cabernet come through from the small exchange, get his take on what to expect from the oil markets this week. Still very headline driven. There was some talk and concerns this morning about maybe decreasing Chinese demand, which could add a little bit of pressure to the upside once again for oil markets. So we'll talk about that. That being said, there's a lot of individual energy stocks that we need to be aware of. INDO, that 1.3 million share float, energy stock, little tiny float that ran all the way up to $80 going back to the beginning of the year on a bit of a short squeeze. Very active again this morning here in the pre-market. So there's HUSA as well as another one that went along with INDO. Sean, so some low float action to kick things off, energy related.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just look at oil here in the last little while, I mean, you're back up to 107. Like, this is pretty crazy. If you switch over to the daily chart, and I've been saying this forever, I've been buying some more ZEO. You guys know that's XLE, so I've been buying some more XLE basically. And this is what oil looks like right here. You know, nice bottom there at 95, and then you nailed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight days right back up into this level. Do we test 125 again? I believe we do. So, you know, that's a little bit of a name there to possibly look at. Just oil in general, like you know, we can talk about all these low floaters. We could talk about Oxy and things like that. Let's just look at Oxy quickly. This was ripping again uncontrollably the last couple of days, or last couple of weeks, I should say. Now that you get Oxy back down here sub $60, if the chart loads, I actually think this is something here where it's battled these tops as well. So you get a nice little move up here from February. We know that Warren Buffett's in this name, 62 and change. Once we break that, then I think it's go time. So that's the levels that I didn't write it down on the sticky note, but if you're looking at a name that could possibly move here, Oxy, this is what happens in the morning. Pretty wild stuff. And then look what this move. This was $59 all the way to $60.50. So you had about $1.50 worth of a move there on Friday. So this is another name to look at. You talked about HUSA. I think that's Amex. Yeah, there it is. Amex name as well. So 300,000 shares, a decent number here for these guys as you look to the upside here. And again, taking out 460, 420 to that bottom side is a level there. This is Houston, America, of course. So you're looking at $5 possibly breaking out again. A nice little bump down there. Good little level at 5. So, you know, because it's on the Amex, make sure that there's shortable shares, but a nice little bump up here in this name. And then what I talked about earlier was just XLE. Like, why not just stay with what's been working? And honestly, like, we started talking about this name in the 70s, like low 70s, man, when this name first came out. And this was at the beginning of the year when everything sort of started to switch up. I started buying this thing when it was in, I mean, I bought the ZEO, but basically we just started buying it in early March. So I would say it was like, I mean, maybe it was late February, but let's say $64, $65. And look at this name, just keeps on marching to the beat of its own drum here. So I think as gas starts getting higher priced, Oil obviously kicking out higher now as well. So, I mean, there's no real love for anything other than energy right now. Banks been getting hit. We talked about trying to buy some banks on weakness. I haven't purchased any of that. I'll let you know when that comes through because honestly, net interest I thought would be a good thing as rates go up. But then I thought about this. If bank rates go up, Brendan, maybe they have customers and clients that can't pay for some of those increased rates. So I don't know if that means more defaults. I don't know exactly where we go. Wells Fargo released some of their reserves as well, and they got hit down 4 or 5% on Friday, or on Thursday. So I don't know, man. If we're talking about energy, I think that's the place to be. I've been talking about that for a very, very long time now, not long enough. But you can see energy continues to work. And yeah, I'm still very, very long energy, and I don't plan on getting anything different than that.
Yeah, I think it's one of the more interesting storylines to come still going into the latter part of this year. And that is exactly what you're saying there, Sean, when it comes to when bank rates get to a certain point, or what is that certain point when people start feeling that pinch a little bit more, because let's face it, real estate is not slowing down whatsoever. And a lot of people are taking on a little bit of debt, to say the least. I want to talk about Elon. We'll get to the Twitter story. We'll talk about that, obviously, but I wanted to mention this first. As we said, Tesla earnings to come this week. Here is Miss Cathie Wood's latest prediction, 4,600 by 2026 on the back of robo-taxis as a price target for Tesla stock. So they get their Shanghai factory back up and operating this week after a 3-week shutdown for COVID over in China. So Tesla earnings to come, but what do we expect as far as this quarter for them?
What do we expect? Okay, well, I mean, yeah, so look, I feel like you got to take with a grain of salt a little bit about what Cathie Wood has been saying. I mean, she called Bitcoin, what, 500,000 or something? She called Tesla, I mean, this is what, a downgrade. I thought the last time we had talked Tesla and Cathie Wood was unfortunately $5,000 here. But I mean, here's Tesla right now. I guess it's being disturbed by this tall wick here. Maybe I can get that wick out of here. That's December 16th. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can get this out. December, where are we? December 12th, 11, 12, 15, 16. Yeah, we did not have a high of $3,000. Let's just go with $999.99 there, 99. There, see if that makes the chart better. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So right now, so if you're looking at Tesla, Brendan, I mean, to be completely honest with you, this is still a strong name. I mean, it's not going to feel like that when the market goes down, because you're going to be sitting there thinking, okay, Tesla's down 20 points, Tesla's down 40 points, Tesla's down 50 points, but it goes up just as easily as it comes right back down. So you see this big, huge march back from these 750 bottoms. I'm not worried about Tesla till we get back down there. And quite frankly, when we do, then I want to buy as much of this as I can, to be honest with you. I thought that was Tony, but it's Rob. What's up, Rob? You want to sit here, Rob? I don't know. I don't think Rob is a trader, but we can talk about different things. But Tesla comes back in. Oh, here we go. Here we go. See? All I have to do is call on people, and he comes through. But you don't have a mic. So, okay. So, Rob, just say what's up, Rob. Rob works in our IT department, and I'm glad to have you back here. A lot of people masking up, trying to be safe around the office. So I really do like that idea. But Rob, you did a portion with us about building a computer. Yep. And using, so I guess we're not going to go over this because you don't have a mic. But I feel like we have pretty good computers, although mine seems to fail. What do we have? What are the specs? Just quickly, I'll tell these guys. i7-7700Ks. So. A few generations older than, yeah, these computers, and we're getting this set up right here. If you guys have this shot right here, if you have it, we'll let Rob go here because we're going to get in trouble if we don't talk without mics here. But we're working on new computers. Thanks, Rob, for stepping in there. That was good. I am going to need some breaks. So I've got the water already starting to pound that back. I'm feeling pretty good. And like Brendan said, we're trying to be as safe as possible. I've tested every single day, and to the point where my wife is like, are you a maniac? You got to go get more tests now because you keep testing like crazy. But we're trying to be as as safe as we are around here. Let's go back to Tesla real quick. Okay, so 4,600 possible bottom, top for Kathy Wood there. I don't know if we get there, man. I mean, that's 4 times from where we are right now. We talked about it from 2026. That's still 4 years from now, I guess. I think that was the story there, 2026. And look, I like the robo-taxi thought of everything. I just don't know if we're there yet. I mean, you need to have a grid city to have that, obviously, with the technology coming through. I feel like 5G is not there quite yet. So for me, Tesla's going to be a hold. We're going to wait to see, Brendan, what happens with earnings. But I know you weren't here last week, but they held this 970 area. That's actually 980. Let me show you the 20-minute chart here. We actually held down here pretty good into this area. So that's 960, 970. So I feel like, if we can get back down into there, especially on week tape, then you may want to pick some up just for the day trade. And then if you drop below 950, then we start to accelerate back down to the downside. So, hey, look, I'm a fan of Tesla. I think they're operating properly. I think when you see some of these other cars like Rivian, Fisker, Lucid, they're so far behind as far as supply chain is concerned that I just think Tesla has such a leg up here. But I've seen a couple of these cars on the road, man. Like the Polestar was in a mall, not on the road, but it was in the mall and looked actually pretty nice for, I think it was sub $40,000 here in Canada. So GGPI. Anyway, there's a lot of beautiful cars out there. I think Tesla works. I'm a buyer of Tesla. And look, it's one of the only tech names that you're going to be able to find above the 50 period and above the 200 period. So I'm excited for Tesla here. It just needs to get going.
Yeah, and more to come as well as far as the EV story is concerned. Obviously, we're going to get a whole bunch from GM. We're going to get a whole bunch from Ford coming up in 2023. There's a Toyota on the way. There's a Subaru on the way. So anyways, we'll talk about those a little bit as they come. Let's bring in Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content Creative over at the Small Exchange in Chicago, back with us for another week of headline-driven markets, I guess is the best way to describe it at this point this morning. Frank, good morning. Good to have you as always. Let's jump right into some U.S. dollar action, some interest rate action that continues to kind of steal the headlines a little bit. What are we looking at this week as far as the 10-year, and the USD?
Yeah, Brendan, great to be back with you, man. I'm glad to see you once again. The story in interest rates has gone from that slight yield curve inversion that I actually feel like you and I were on the forefront of talking about it going into that inversion. We were inverted for a total of like 48 market hours there. It was that Friday, Monday, if you'll remember. Quickly uninverted back to a slightly normal curve. Now the 10-year trading actually a healthy 30 to 35 basis points on top of the 2-year. Now, Brendan, the story becomes 10-year on its own here. Will we get to 3%? Definitely within that distance here this week, just another $1.50 higher in the S10Y futures. Or if you're looking at it in terms of percentage, just about 15 basis points away. Definitely can get that done in a week here. It's going to be really interesting to me, Brendan, if we can get up there and eclipse that 3%. Where is the new range? But if we just kind of sit around here, which is 2.8 to 2.9%, maybe have a couple rallies up towards 3%, but not quite reach there, we might retrace a healthy amount of this move. I don't think we're going back into the sub 2% area anytime soon, but I'll be really interested to see, like I say, if we break that 3%, get above $30 in the S10Y futures, where are we going from there? But I actually have a couple of shorts in this market trying to see if they get above 30 and I'm wrong, I'm out. That's fine. Then we'll see and navigate the new range from there. But I have to think there's a little bit of reversal in this market here, because as you can see, since about mid-March, it's been a straight skyrocket higher in 10-year rates from about 1.5% now to almost 3%. So story getting a little bit easier for those at home who are new to interest rates to digest a little bit, Brendan, because it's not, this versus that, 10s versus 2s, 30s versus 10s, or anything like that. It's just straight up the benchmark for interest rates, the 10-year. Where is that headed? Can it eclipse 3%, or are we going to reverse a little bit lower? I'm probably leaning a little bit on that latter.
And if you consider where we're at right now, as far as the Fed fund rates, I was just checking once again, even if they go 0.5%, even if they go 3 times at 50, we're still kind of in or thereabouts along with both of these. The other big chart, or the strongest chart, has been the U.S. dollar. Pretty impressive. What are your thoughts here going into the new week?
This is another one, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm a perma bear and I'm bearish all these different markets, but this is another one, Brendan, when you just look at the recent price action, like US dollars could continue to trend higher over the next several months, and rates could trend higher to 4 or 5% in that 10-year, but I'm trading for this week. And when you show me a chart like this and tell me that 10 of the last 11 days in US dollar, we've been higher, and going into last Wednesday, it was 9 days straight and just a slight reversal there on that Wednesday. And then we closed the week, the shortened week last week, higher in US dollar to end it. And now we're trading higher here again on Monday. So if they close higher here today, it'll be 11 of the last 12 days up in US dollars. Now, of course, the market doesn't really have a memory, Brennan, for what it did yesterday. It can do anything it wants on any given day, but it's a word that I come back to that your viewers are maybe sick of hearing me. There's a sustainability factor to some of this movement. At some point, people who are long US dollars and buying those new highs, buying that market up or holding those longs, at some point take some profits. At some point, this market does reverse a little bit, because you've seen US dollars a big rallies like this in the last year, 5 days higher, 6 days higher, what have you. And they've come off pretty significantly. And I actually crunched some numbers that I didn't put in front of you here. But what we've seen, Brendan, after 3 days higher in the US dollar, the next week of trading averaged about 0.5% lower. And so when you see these trends, there is a tendency in this US dollar market for some reversal.
And so when we want to put on a trade, obviously, somewhere around this neighborhood. The other, I guess, angle, or the other side of the story here is going to be metal prices. People, take money out of equities. They look for safe havens, typically the U.S. dollar. But we also saw a huge push in the price for gold. So do we now, Frank, see that reversal happen, in some of these metal prices as well?
Well, so here's where it really all comes together, because we're actually kicking off higher in US dollars this Monday morning. But the bigger story is the rally that we're seeing this morning in gold and silver, as gold and silver move to their highs that we saw about a month and a half ago, which were the same prices, those same highs when the pandemic broke out. And why I say this all comes together, and why Frank might be leaning on the short side of all three of these markets, Brennan, is because if you go to this next slide here, which isn't a price chart, hopefully we can all get on board with what we're looking at here. This is a rolling correlation chart, Brennan. This is showing you the correlation over the last couple of years, the relationship between metals and 10-year interest rates. Pretty heavy in the red territory most of the time. There are little blips, little what I would call correlation breakdowns from time to time. But when you see those breakdowns, Brennan, the correlation tends to come right on back to red territory. What does that mean? Well, that means when rates go higher, metals tend to go down. That's an inverse correlation, a negative correlation. If we go to the next slide, you'll see even more red territory on this correlation graphic. When US dollars go higher, metals really usually tend to go down. And you see that correlation now creeping up to that zero benchmark, the threshold potentially getting positive here. These correlation breakdowns are really interesting to me because they scream opportunity. The last time we saw a correlation breakdown between US dollars and metals, you can see right when that pandemic breaks out in early 2020, what happened right afterwards? US dollars and metals both moved lower. So this is one of those things where I've got some short 10 years, I've got some short US dollars, and especially on this morning, I'm adding some short gold and silver as kind of a diversified scalp. I'm not trying to hold this for weeks and weeks or months here, but this week, I don't see, given all this historical data, Brendan, a market where rates can move higher, US dollars can move higher, and metals that have this deep inverse correlation can also move higher. So I've got some shorts in all three, a little bit of a hedged scalp here on Monday morning.
Market conditions we have not been a witness to for quite some time. Frank Cabrera, Director of Product Content and Creative over at the Small Exchange. Guys, check out smallexchange.com. Lots of great opportunities to get into the futures markets if you're interested. Appreciate your time, Frank, as always.
Thanks, Brendan.
Have a great week. Let's continue along here. I mean, a few different angles there, obviously, Sean, but very important to keep an eye on, you know, this U.S. dollar strength in correlation to what the overall market is doing. As, you know, some more money comes out of equities, we could see that rally continue.
Yeah, look, I mean, the U.S. dollar, weakness in the U.S. dollar obviously is going to affect, you know, when we're talking about imports and exports. And then we talk about, look, I still think, and thanks for Frank for coming on here, but I'm still super nervous about what's happening in China. I feel like we're not even really talking about that economy as much as we should be. They're completely shut down over there. I mean, in many of the big cities. And you're going to see a note here. It's on my note today from Apple coming through. And I mean, you want to talk about pricing power and things like that. I mean, if the U.S. dollar can't hold up, that's going to be disastrous for many different aspects of not just the U.S. economy, but like I just mentioned there, oil markets, things like that, definitely going to be affected when that does come through. Unfortunately, I didn't get to hear all of Frank's points there as we're working on getting myself a co-host here soon. So hopefully that should be exciting coming up. But that's the best thing. I just want to give a big shout out to Frank as well, because the Small Exchange and some of the knowledge that he has, you know, well surpasses what Neil and myself talk about here from an equity side of things. So it's great to have that sort of that other side of it when you're talking about money supply, interest rates. The 2s and the 10s are very, very interesting right now. I feel like we're subject and we're just like held out to that 10-year. As that just keeps on rising, equities are going to have no choice but to start to head southbound. So I feel like that's going to be an interesting relationship to look at. And until that 10-year starts to float back down, man, we're going to be in trouble. Like normally it's like 2% would be great. Now you're rocketing to the north side. So yeah, I'm a little nervous here, but the market doesn't seem to care too much as we're getting ready to head back through and try to test some of these highs of this 13,870. So if the NASDAQ can get back up there, man, we may have to change our tune a little bit. But thanks to Frank from the Small Exchange, what a great sponsor they were, I think, last week. And great to have Frank on again. So let's throw it back over to the big screen with Brendan.
All right, a few moves to pass along for you this morning, notable ones on this board as well. We'll get some more airlines reporting coming up later in the week this week, so keep that in mind. Delta on here today. Rite Aid down there with a big move Thursday, not Friday. Friday was a holiday, so Thursday. PayPal, speaking of big moves, couple of days back to the downside. Obviously for some of the payment firms, Credit Suisse with a downgrade on PayPal today. There's Rivian, there's Tesla, there's Wells Fargo. Rivian, the CEO, talking more about possible delays as far as supply chain is concerned. So not a good look for Rivian here, pre-market as well.
Mentioned to, we're trying to get everything figured out here. We got to throw some servers over. You guys want to see a little sneak preview? Throw the 2-shot. Okay, take it off. Okay. That's what it is. We're teasing a little bit right there. If you saw it, great. If you didn't, you have to hit the rewind. But for right now, yeah, you weren't here last week, Brendan. I don't know what you just mentioned there because I was obviously distracted again, as I can't seem to get my mind off this show like usual. But Rivian last week, people are seeing the teaser right there. There's some pepperoni talk. I'll leave it at that. No, look, you know, Rivian last week, it started to get off a little bit. And I made this as, you know, we were talking about this here last week when Rivian was down to $37, $38. And I made the call that this was a name that could accelerate over the next couple weeks back upside. And I don't know about the 50 period like I called, but that would be $50 at this point. But I just thought Rivian had some things working for them there. The R1T obviously is when and if it's produced properly, there's not going to be too much competition. I mean, the F-150 is going to be there. I feel like the Rivian R1T is going to be a big availability for their truck there. But again, no money, big problem. And for right now, Rivian, needs to get through this area. I mean, we need to get back up here to 41.50 and change before we get really worried about Rivian and making a big move. But right now, only 81,000 shares. For me, I still like the Fisker Ocean. I believe that and again, I do own Fisker shares, so it's kind of like a little bit talking up my book, but you know, they're still due for full production. I mean, not full production, but getting the cars produced by November. So again, they're above the 50 period, so you can look at that, as opposed to Rivian that we just talked about, below the 50 period. So if you're looking for one that's relatively strong, I think you can go Rivian versus Fisker. I would choose Fisker, but I think Rivian with Amazon still owning 1% there, with Ford still owning 1%, and we talked about why we liked Rivian there last week. We had some big guys in there, man. We had the CalPERS, you know, big, obviously mutual fund they're holding, taking through. JP Morgan has a price target of $85 there. And George Soros, as of his last filing, Brendan, George Soros, 20 million shares of Rivian. So yeah, I don't have that many shares. I have 0, but I like Rivian moving forward. I think there's some potential there.
Yeah, they're going to have to figure out a few things, obviously, but not good comments anyways from the CEO today, unfortunately. But, I mean, not a huge move here either in the pre-market for Rivian at this point. Lucid was a little bit more active. We'll talk about Fisker as well. We're going to get Arun in here eventually and get a look at the overall market. Until we do that, I mean, Sean, thoughts on the overall market here to kick off the week? As we said, you know, big week for earnings. There's key levels that need to really come into play here for both the Qs. Just while I'm saying this, guys, oil spiking up as well. Back to 107.80 here on decent volume, so up 0.8 for oil as well.
Am I doing the futures? Where's Arun at? What is going on today? Okay, all right. So, all right, we've talked about this before, about the NASDAQ future, so let's do this quickly. It's NQ. I'm just going to do the NASDAQ because I look at that all the time. We obviously have a big pressure spot here for 14,000, right? And so we can talk about that. I think we can get back up to 14,000 pretty easily. It's just a matter of time, and that's what the market needs right now. You are below the 50 period. We did have a nasty week last week. Obviously, this week will not be a shortened week. We got saved by Friday. I feel like it could have got worse and worse and worse if Friday came through. But again, it's a little nasty. Like AMD broke down through 100, right? NVIDIA is trying to break down through 200. You have Apple giving up the ghost right now. And I just feel like until China really gets back on board here, the money's going to be made in energy. The money you saw Delta last week start to take a nice little upside move as well. So for me, I think you're looking at some pretty key levels here. And if you're looking at the NASDAQ, you're obviously going to be looking right here at 14,000. I don't think that's hard to take out. We could do that today. You're only 140 points away from right there, the bottom of 13,000. I'm a buyer of any kind of a move back in here if we get back to early March bottoms again. But for me, it's all going to be about the earnings, right? Tesla's still holding up well. Apple's trying to hold up, man. I mean, it's trying today down that 3% on the Bloomberg report. Well, we were. I don't know what we are now. Let's see, Apple. No, I'm sorry, only down 0.47% today. So still holding up pretty well off that report. So I don't know. I think that you need to see Apple. We need to see Microsoft come through. Google's going to be an important one for the market. The banks didn't help anything. We already know what we're going to get from energy. So until Russia honestly gets sort of settled down here, I feel like the market's just going to do what it's going to do. And it's choppy. I mean, no matter what we think, this market's pretty choppy. Apple did have a nice move down, but look at the chop in the middle of the day. It just gets choppy. There's moves early and then chop late. So let's see what happens here with the market. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we could have an up week. It was pretty bad. We were down 3.5% the week before and about 1.5% last week off of some rally days. Let's see what happens here with the NASDAQ moving forward. What you got for us, Ms. V?
Hey, Sean, I want to welcome a new member, Robert Gomez. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And Robert says that he had to become a member as soon as he saw Tony. And also we had a super chat for Tony from Mike Rehan. Don't blow it, Tony, no pressure. Thank you so much, guys, for all of your support. And please make sure you like this video.
All right, yeah, we'll bring in Arun now and get his take on the overall market here. There's never pressure on Tony. Don't worry about Tony, he'll be fine. Arun is back with us this morning for a look at where we're at this point. Some, as we were just saying, Sean and I just saying there, Arun, key levels coming into play once again for the market.
Yeah, from the last few days, I think, what was it, the 12th, 13th, we bounced around these 75s to 80s. We're coming from underneath now. I want to see how much resistance is still there. There's a good chance that this market has broken underneath and just snaps right back and goes to the upside. But if we get a chance where it starts to hesitate a little bit, there could be a nice little short to take on the short side of this, work the short, 44.75 to 80. That's the same area that I'd like to work with. 43.75 to 43.80. And then 44.15 would be the stop that I would use in the event that a short plays out. Now, if we just continue on down through those 60 lows from the pre-market, this market's, for the most part, it's going to be hard to find some new levels to work with. If we can't find anything in this level where we can work a short, or even if we bounce strong off this area, that's a real possibility. If we bounce strong off this area and back above 15, then I would start looking for longs. But right now we're in an area where it could go either way. It's just a matter of how much volume is going to be brought onto the table. We're coming back from a long weekend. We'll see what this market's going to bring at the open, and that's going to declare which side is going to be stronger. And once we get that information, we can either work shorts through that 75-80 area, or just wait back a little bit, let the market rally up, get back into a range where we can actually look for some longs. But it does look like, with the market down 0.25%, 0.23% on the S&P, 0.26, they're pretty even. It's been a while since they've been fairly even, because NASDAQ's been relatively weak in the past little bit. And then I believe crude is also somewhat flat. Actually, no, 0.87 to the upside. So it does look like the market's finding some stability, it seems like, overnight. After starting aggressively overnight, it does look like it's finding some stability. So we'll wait for the open, see which volume is going to come in stronger. Once we get that info, we can either go for the short or just pull back, wait for the long. In the event that we break through these lows, right? Let's just say we break through this 43.60 lows, you got to wait back. There isn't a whole lot of levels left. 4,300 would be the next one to the downside. If we get down there close by, then we can maybe set up a long. But until that happens, this market's going to have to give us some more information so we can actually put some risk in the smart way when this market opens up. Because I imagine coming back from a long weekend is going to bring a decent amount of volume.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow. Let's get into what is moving around in the pre-market. There are a few pretty interesting names, guys, on the watch list this morning. If you haven't done so already, make sure you grab the absolutely free watch list every single morning. All you need is an email address. Miss V is ready and waiting in the chat for you. She'll help you out with that. The first one, Twitter. Obviously, the Elon story continues. The poison pill was all the talk back on Thursday. Looks like, I mean, there's nothing really new to talk about as far as Elon versus Twitter this morning, but we're back to the upside here, at least for the stock.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really cute. Elon Musk came out to Love Me Tender and things like that, talking about tendering shares, and Elvis is in the building one more time. Okay, so look, he also tweeted out, there's really no major shareholders left now that Jack Dorsey had like something like 2.3%, something like that. So they will enact the poison pill, and to basically create it unrealistic for him to try to take this thing over himself. So, but they need to have a shareholder vote. Like, I don't know when that's going to be coming at all, but, he's talking about free speech and, all this kind of stuff. I've talked about this. Sorry, when I said Apple was down 3%, I meant it was because Twitter was up 3%. What I think here is you found a bottom, and I just want to play off that bottom as much as we can. This 44, 45 area, I mean, I feel like that's made a lot of sense. That was where we sort of rallied to when this came through. Remember, we were here 38, 39, then we ripped up to 50, started bouncing around a little bit that day, got to 55, came back in, and then now we're kind of stuck right in this area, 44 to 40. 40 to 44. There's definitely some support there. But now you're going to get to the upside. So I don't really know what has created such a big move here. We were long, like look at this long off 45.20. So we're going to try to do the same thing again here today. Yeah, he had some TED Talks. We talked about that on Thursday there. And he's just critical of all of their policies, right? So I don't know where this stock's going to go today. But the levels that I'm looking at are just down here. I want to see this thing fall back in. We're trying to approach the 50 period right now of 46.50. That's going to be some key levels. You saw on Friday, we couldn't get out of the way off at the close of $47. So that's something to be looked at right there on the top as well. Possibly a breakthrough of 47 gets us going up to 47.50 right there. So, there is something here on Twitter. And again, I know when we had Arun here, he didn't want to talk about headline risk or anything like that. I feel like there's nothing really else for him to be tweeting out here. He has the $43 billion cash offer out there. His offer's at $54. I think it's pretty ridiculous to think that this stock is really going anywhere. You had a great summer, up to 70, up to 75. But now you get an offer that when you're down to 32 bucks, you could possibly get taken out at 54. I don't know. If I'm a shareholder, this might be something I'd consider. Unfortunately, it's not the biggest bump in the world. Would have liked to see it a little bit higher. But for today, I think we just ease back on Twitter a little bit. And if we get back in, I mean, we were defending on Friday back down in here, $46 before that broke, right? We tried to go short. We did. We made a little bit of money on that first short back down to 45. So I'm going to say if we can get a bid back in here, and I wrote it on the sticky note, wherever it is right here, that we would try to get 44.50 bottom or 45. So for me, let's wait around here, around 45 bucks, see if we can get into that level. Let's check out the imbalances, because that's always been a little bit of something. Yeah, Twitter right here, 700,000 shares to buy. So that's a level, you know, we'll see about it fading back off. Other than DD though, no mines anywhere other than Twitter today. So has to be looked at. I like Twitter. I think we got a bid near 45, and that's where I am right now to see about this short, or this long, sorry.
Got to go where the action is, and we will definitely be looking at Twitter throughout the day, obviously doing all kinds of volume already. BAC, the only real notable earnings report this morning. We got the rest of the banks last week coming off, you know, kind of mediocre numbers right across the board. It's worth noting, if you're looking at BAC right now, guys, the call is on right now. So there is a few comments coming through. But Bank of America, not really doing a heck of a lot.
% rise in consumer banking revenue is nice. So, I mean, it's nice that you get the consumer banking sector back into it. We saw JP Morgan talk about proprietary trading as well as Morgan and Stanley, and their trading wings were actually pretty good. But it's nice to see here, as I just look over some numbers now, profit applicable to the common shares, so 80 cents per share. So that's good. They missed about last year. They got 86. This year they got 80. I think it's a little tougher environment. Last year we had everything booming. Plus we had some sandbagging going on as well. But you can see here up 0.27%, and you hit the nail right on the head. It doesn't look like much is happening right now. I'm not even looking at Bank of America today. The volume's not bad at 1 million shares, so there is something to be looked at. But at the same time, look where we're pushing. We're pushing lower and lower, man, 37, 37.50. So a break down below there, I think, is what you're looking at, and we're probably going to get it. So that recent low on Bank of America, forget about that wick all the way down there. But you're looking at like 37.50 basically as an area to break lower. I feel like that's going to be a smart play. We played Citigroup. There's the daily chart again for Bank of America. So it's just been pretty nasty on the way down. I talked about seeing some support on JP Morgan at 125. So that's going to be something maybe that you want to look at here for JP Morgan. It's been holding, and it held 125 on Friday. If you guys can see, it's right there. That's that 120. Look at this move on Friday, man. A 12.30 bottom all the way up to 126. So you basically had a $1.50 move in the last hour for JP Morgan back to the upside. So I think I'd like to play with this name back down to 125. I feel like JP Morgan, although Jamie Dimon said, Brendan, and I know you were off, but probably still seeing some of the headlines, he said there's a lot of dark storm clouds in the horizon for all the banks. It's just he wasn't sure if they were going to come on over, you know, to hit them. So he talked again about the reserves that were there, possibly defaulting on some loans and whatnot. So I'm a little bit nervous, but again, if you're going to be in a bank, I like JP Morgan. Goldman Sachs is my most recent purchase, but that was up near 350, so that's been faded out, and that was months and months ago. I'm not going to get into any banks. I talked about XLF maybe being something that we'd want to look at as an ETF holding, so then therefore you're just kind of holding all of the banks. But then I look, this is only paying 1%, 1.4% or something as a dividend, so the chart's not loading here. But I think if you're going to get into banks, let's let them settle down and give them a little while. Citigroup was by far the best trading vehicle for me last week as far as banks are concerned, or not last week, on Thursday. We hit that nicely, and as you can see, they're actually holding up quite well from some of these bottoms. So the bottom for Citigroup's going to be 49. So we'll look at bank stocks today, but they're just not super exciting to me.
Let's move on. Mullen Automotive, fan favorite on the retail side of things, back in play this morning, although it is kind of drifting back to the downside here. We had an initial move higher. on a report they're going to retrofit one of their California production facilities to begin battery production, basically ASAP, as soon as this work is done. So as far as the most active stocks, definitely MULN, one of those. $2, wanted to point that out over on the daily chart here. Huge level for Mullen.
Yeah, okay, so MULN. I guess we got to probably get some shorts for this. I haven't even shorted this yet. But this is, yeah, $2 coming through here. Obviously, they're going to be building out their R&D facility there in California. They've talked about that. I'm just reading over some of the notes here to make sure I got them all right. Yeah, they want to reduce the supply chain. So any dependencies on suppliers, I think. But, I mean, I'm still waiting, honestly, for that big deal to come through. And I think that was even here when you were here, Brennan. We didn't hear anything about that. There was actually some lawsuits being dropped towards Mullen as well, towards the CEO, I believe, on some of those comments. It might not have been a lawsuit, but there was definitely a report that came out questioning the validity of that. But Mullen right here at 230, I like the 230 level. I think that's just a better breakout, you know, than the $2 bottom. You could get long here, but this is Thursday, so you can see we bounced off this 236. We take that out, there might be something. But 6 million shares, it's trading kind of funny here, considering there's 6 million shares involved in Mullen. It doesn't really seem like it wants to move. You do have one big print here of 1 million, but I guess it's somewhat of a legit 6 million shares. We'll see. Is there anything sitting at $2 as I scroll down? We don't have it that far, but yeah, I'll be looking at Mullen Automotive. How about you, Tony? Tony. So, guys, Neil not feeling well today. We can go. You have your mic on? Yeah. Tony, let's go.
Is it me? Dang.
Congratulations. You've now graduated up. So, yeah, you're now going to be rolling with me.
Geez.
Sorry about that.
Nervous.
I know you're used to sitting next to somebody a little more attractive. I mean, Miss B is normally.
You're playing. You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Wait. Thank you, Tony. But yeah, no, we're just playing around. Look, I'm really happy to have Tony. And I got to say something, Tony. Look, I know you're a little bit nervous about this. I want to give a big thanks to Mike and big thanks to everybody. You have a lot of support on the chat. But from what I heard, from the way that you handled the midday show last week, you are well capable of handling this, my friend. You're going to put some trades on. We're going to watch that. We're going to analyze some trades. But everybody there in the chat, welcome my man Tony here to the big show.
Thank you so much, Sean. All I can say is it's a tremendous pleasure to have the opportunity to be here. I got to say, it's a really weird feeling to be watching the show, you know, in your bed, in your jammies just, you know, 4 or 5 months ago. And now you yourself is on the show. Yeah. And so it's a completely different feeling.
Did you just say jammies?
Yeah, kind of.
Sick. No, that's what I say too.
I like pajamas.
Yeah, I said to my wife, it's like, okay, it's time for like some Netflix. It's jammy time, you know?
That's right.
So I get into the jammies and look, we are definitely a fluid operation around here. And I did want to say something because I did notice it in the chat. You must be on the big show when I noticed that Tony buttoned up all the way.
That's right.
There. So that's, you know, even more than myself here. So, yeah, Brendan, what a thrill to have Tony here filling in. This should be a good one. But I have to go run and fill up my water. So when it comes back, you're going to be alone.
Oh, wow. All right. I'll try.
Yeah, so let's get ready to rock and roll. Brendan, try to delay. Let's go.
No pressure, Tony. No pressure at all. Tony's going to be great. Obviously, you guys saw him last week over on the midday show. Hopefully, we'll get that sorted out for this morning as well. Ms. V is here, so that is all that matters. Let's talk about Tesla here. Obviously, Wednesday is going to be the big day for Tesla, reporting on 420, because that's how Elon rolls. But it was the ARK story that kind of caught my eye this morning. We talked about it, Sean mentioned a little bit early on this morning, but ARK saying 4,600 on the price target in 4 years for Tesla. So Kathy Wood not doubling down, but I don't know, 4, 5, 6 times now. Going back to the well on Tesla. So yeah, 420 going to be earnings. I mean, that's a 375% potential upside for the stock itself. The other key note this morning, they've restarted production out of their Shanghai facility. Remember, that was shut down for 3 weeks because of COVID lockdowns over in that area. So, I mean, this quarter may not be affected as far as the numbers are concerned, but it's worth noting that we'll start to get some more realistic numbers once again for Tesla and their production. But all right, here we go. Tony, what do we do with Tesla today?
Tesla today, wow, looks like we're moving just a little bit today against the rest of the market. So the NASDAQ was actually down 1.5% or close to that yesterday night. Looks like trying to rebound just a little bit along the rest of the markets. I'm looking at the dollar index today. We're pretty much hit 100 on the DXY, pretty much recent highs. It's been like that for, we just hit these levels recently along with the rise in the yields, as we've been hearing a little bit about that earlier. I think this is really fascinating to look at. About Tesla, actually. I think it's very fascinating. It's kind of moving along with Twitter to the upside. It was my theory from last week, actually, that if we see Tesla go down, it's probably a sign that Elon Musk might get his way with Twitter. Obviously, he can't be managing two companies with 100% of his efforts. So I'm thinking some people might be a bit worried he's going to take less of a role on Tesla and more on Twitter if he were to pardon me, kind of coughed a little bit there, but if he's able to actually get his way with the buyout there. But Twitter adopting a poison pill, so it looks like Tesla might actually kind of sustain itself a little bit as investors more or less weigh in on the possibility that Elon Musk might more or less be staying with Tesla for the time being.
Tony dropping down the knowledge, so we'll drop down the cash right there. Look, I think that's actually a really good point that you mentioned there about Tesla, and I think that he's got to focus. Like Elon Musk now, finally, he can just say, you know what? Twitter is what it is. Let's go over and start to deal with the company that's really made him, right? Tesla, obviously, PayPal Mafia with him and Peter Thiel as well coming through. But I feel like Tesla's in a good spot right now, Brendan. We talked about this. Their supply chain issues don't seem to be as rampant as others. I'm a little nervous about the Shanghai plant, of course, coming offline and just not producing as many cars as they were before. We had that video where it was, Tony, can you believe this? There was a car coming out of that plant every 30 seconds.
Wow.
So, and I don't know if that's still happening. I could imagine not. Yeah. You're loving
30 seconds.
China, eh? Yeah. Ooh. A Tesla every 30 seconds. And then you have companies like Rivian and things like that are producing 25,000 cars a year. So that's the benefit there of Tesla. I like the stock today. I just think that you got to get back down into this 960 area. I'm really concerned about what the market's doing. So I think we should go on and just look at maybe some other stories here, because like AMD for me, Brendan, last week, we just kept waiting for different pump ups here in the stock. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but I think Tony probably did because he was here. But this is my trading, and I'll just show this to you guys on Friday. This is how I traded AMD. So we hit the nice short early, boom, 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 all the way to the downside. That was a 97 short right there. It went down to 95. And then all afternoon, we just kept playing the short till eventually we held it all the way to a 93 break. And then now look what's happening to AMD today. You're coming in and you're even lower than where we were obviously on Friday, as the market's still down that quarter point and AMD still down one full percent today. And yeah, looking at that 91.50. So for me, it's on the sticky note today. We can show that quickly. It's not a huge sticky note. I had to get a little more prepared for this show, but you're going to see right here, we do want Apple short, and then here we go, Tony. Let's try to stay short here on AMD. If we can get a bump up to $95, $96, that's kind of where we'd like it. But again, I don't know if we're going to get that all the way up here to 95, although we were just there at 2 p.m. on Friday. Let's see if we get a bump up, but I'm thinking a short around $93 or so. The one thing is, Tony, I know that you're on the big show now. Don't trade like a maniac.
Oh, no.
No, eventually you can. I was going to say, don't trade like a maniac in the first couple minutes. The market is definitely a wild one. And news right here about Twitter. Twitter declared dividend of $1 for each outstanding share. Twitter authorized and declared a dividend distribution right now. I don't know. Twitter was not a dividend-paying stock, I believe. So what has just happened here? It doesn't look like it's affecting anything. Twitter declared dividend of $1 for each outstanding share. Okay, so I guess this is part of what they're trying to do here, give these rights to shareholders and have a quick vote, I'm guessing, on this. So I don't know, maybe the vote's coming sooner than we thought, but we'll work through that headline. I'm sure you see it there, Brendo.
Here we go. We can show you right now. It is 1/1000th of a share of a Series A participating preferred stock. That is the value, I guess, and you can exercise it at 210. So, as you said, not really affecting anything right now as far as today's price anyways, but yeah, that's just coming across for Twitter. So this is kind of going back to what they were talking about at the end of last week. So we'll keep an eye on that. Let's go to Apple real quick. We mentioned supply chain issues for a number of different companies, including Tesla, with the Shanghai closure. This is also going to affect some of the PC makers and some of the phone makers, including Apple. So this is Bloomberg reporting, guys, that Apple could see some supply chain reporting issues coming up in their quarter.
Yo, okay, you have an Apple iPhone?
No, I'm a Samsung user, actually. They made my good first phone. It was like,
Really?
I forgot what it was, but I got it with my Cricket plan back when I was in the States. It was like this
Cricket.
really, it was like a $100 phone, but for like a teenager at the time myself, it was the best thing imaginable. So I stick with Samsung.
All right, I'm down with that. Yeah, I'm a Google Pixel guy myself.
Nice.
I had the OnePlus You heard of that phone before?
That was like the one my friend got when it first came out back in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah, I had that. Yeah, I had that, the initial one, and then I went to the next one, and then I went. I did the iPhone the first time. My wife was addicted to it. Then ever since then, I've stuck with the Pixel. Went all the way up, and now the Pixel 6, which is a really nice phone.
Pixel 6, we're at the 6 series already.
We'll have to upgrade your. You don't know what your Samsung is now, though.
No, I know what mine is now. It's the no, it's not the S3. It's the
Okay, Tony will get into that, and we'll figure that out. Keep your phone on your desk in case your girlfriend calls while you're on the show here, wondering how you became, this popular, Tony. And say thank you for the super chats and thank you for everything right there for Tony. So look, Apple's on my list. I hate it because I don't ever want to go short this name. But honestly, if Bloomberg is going to come talk about supply chain issues, I believe that to be true. Whoa, hello. Yeah, what just happened right now as Apple started to fall again down through, wow, okay. Tony, this was 165 and then they heard that you don't have Apple.
Oh,
and the next thing you know, this thing just drops $1 right down into day's low. So yeah, this is exactly what I wanted to do, man. I wanted to short the open price, which is now going to be in question. I was looking at this high of just 165. Honestly, I don't feel like this report is going to be a good news for Apple. The market is negative, so we're going to short Apple right there. And that the Tony effect happening right now, right in front of you, right on the market. Like you first started shorting the market in 2008, and we saw what happened. Now you're seeing this move to the downside right here as Apple started to take down 164. Wow. So look, I am going to be a short for Apple. It's just a matter of when and where. You're breaking lower here, man. This 20 period is pretty sick. We talked about how it was so surprising. You had, 13 straight days of Apple love coming through? We only have 4 minutes right now, but look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just trust me, Tony, it's 13 all the way to the upside before barcoding a little bit, and now you're starting to head down. I don't look for any key levels to break. I just look for Apple to start heading lower here today, especially if this NASDAQ can't hold. Look what Apple's going to do. It's going to be pretty disgusting. Let's put an offer around 165, see if we can't build the short. Any opinions on Apple, Tony, before we go to Brendan?
Apple, well, all I can say is it's been a really, really strong name. I remember when Apple was like 165 back when I started college, which wasn't really that long ago, a couple of years ago. Now it's at 165 again after, was it the 4-for-1 split? Correct. So it just, for a name that's like the largest in the market, where we're at almost 3 trillion at one point, I'm not sure if we actually hit 3 trillion. This name, it's been getting a lot of love. 13 days to the upside. Now we're cooling off just a little bit. Yep. I think it's needed. I was giving like this terrible beer analogy the other day on my show. It's like you have a stock, it's like a nice beer, but if you're holding it for a bit too long, can't be going up every single day. We got to put it back in the freezer for have it cool off just a little bit, take it back. It's nice. So that's my opinion on Apple. Maybe a little bit cool down. Really strong name.
Apple, the most refreshing stock in the NASDAQ. I like that one.
Thank you.
Brenda, what up?
Just learning from the Tony over there. CASA, guys, little one this morning, up on deal with Verizon. So this is actually big news for, this is a small company. So 6 and then 7, pretty clear levels on the daily chart for CASA up 50%, but testing highs right now, relatively small float. Watch 6, watch 7 for CASA, guys.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to start this party off right now, Tony, because I'm going to get short right now on Apple. It's going to fall down here off the open. Small position. So when you do see Tony or I in a position, actually you won't see Tony's position, but you will see mine. So I believe anyways. Right. Yeah, so that's going to be correct. So, all right, so thank you again. We have Tony here. We'll wish Neil to get better ASAP. It's great to have Brendan back in the building. And the ironclad man, for now, stays healthy and is still in the seat. So we'll see what happens coming through here, Pepperoni Tony. So I like Toronto Tony.
Toronto Tony, that's a great one. I love all of them.
Toronto Tony today. And Miss V is also in the building as well. Any positions maybe perhaps you're looking at? Actually, hold on. Let's just review some of the ones that I'm looking at quickly here. Twitter, no, not looking until we get back down to 45. I do have that 45 bid. AMD, I am looking to fade all AMD trades. If we can get AMD back into like 92, 90, like 92.50, 93 would be really sweet on an AMD fade. Oh, Vinco Ventures we didn't get to, did we? I don't think we got to that. Vinco Ventures right now, I like this move today. You're up to, we were up over a million shares, 1.3 million shares. I'm looking to see if Vinco Ventures can get going through this 260 bottom that we have right there. So we have 260 as a bottom. I do have the order to go through this if we can break on Vinco Ventures. The news here on Vinco, of course, was just that they had better earnings than expected with a 29% short float. So that's another name that we're looking at. And then I thought if the market got going here, that Facebook would be really interesting to get going through 212.
No.
So there's that going through as well. I've been trying to play some Facebook longs the last little while. Obviously, we got away from it as we were short AMD here, heading into the open or heading into the close. But now heading into the open, a few names like Palantir, DraftKings, and a few other ones trying to make some moves as well. We are now in the money on our Apple trade. Here's Palantir again. Not the right environment for them. You not make money. It's not a great opportunity for stock. I've got the bell, no worries. As we're getting ready to rock and roll here, Apple still nicely in the money, that 3 or 4 cents. Let's hit the countdown right now as we have Miss V over there. Buy her lonesome. No, normally it's Tony over there, but Tony filling in for Neil today. I hope it's good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. All right, yeah, just looking around here to see what is happening. Apple has now opened. Let's check out Bank of America just to see where that goes quickly here. Bank of America trying to break through that 37 level. That's going to be very key for Bank of America shareholders as that's been holding out okay. BAC's been okay down here, but let's see. It's about to get tested up. Okay, Apple and the market starting to reload. A big, huge move. Wow, big, huge move to the upside right now. So this is why we had to wait. We talked about this. We're only out of the money 30 cents, but nice little move up for the NASDAQ. Almost got to green right there. That's the aggressive kind of move that we're talking about. We do expect these kind of moves happening from the market, so let's wait to see, settle things down. That probably was a good opportunity to get short into Apple. We should have done that, but I am waiting here. 164.80, if we can get that high, then we'll take another share, more shares here in Apple.
Absolutely crazy moves today, right at the open. Like Sean was saying, massive, massive volatility. We've been seeing that very, very often, actually, in this past few weeks, where markets pretty much open, flush down, flushes back up, and then somehow at the end of the day, we're red again. So, you know, the market these days, it doesn't know where it wants to go. I'm actually very fascinated to see what happens. NASDAQ about to go green. We were down over 1% yesterday night with the rising dollar, rising rates. You know, like I was saying, mortgage rates now over 5%. I'm not getting a house anytime soon. Hopefully, you guys are a bit closer than I am. But yeah, signs not very good for markets. I think the markets now have a little bit to cool off. We're taking a look here at the daily chart over on the Qs here. I think.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. AMD right now, Tony. Yeah, when you get the chart up,
right.
Let me know because obviously it's going to have a couple of loading issues right over there. $93 right now. So we did average in, just to let you guys know, we did average in right now into Apple. So our Apple trade is now averaged in. It's now coming up to the top side here. We could be wrong on this name, and we're not, like we've said this before, we are not going to sit here and try to like predict, you know, this is definitely an update for Apple. This is definitely a downgrade for Apple. But right into here, we've come into this area, and I talked about 165.50. If that breaks, we can get out and then regroup. But for right now, I'm pretty happy sitting in this Apple trade. And there it is. We did take a new trade as well, Tony. We took Twitter to the short side.
Twitter to the short side.
Yeah, the market was breaking lower, right? So, sorry, the market was breaking higher, and Twitter just kept going the other way. So bang right there for the pepperoni, man. As we start spinning some money around right now. Comes back in right here. So there's a quick 40 cents or so as we're short right now. Sorry, we're short $46. We just took 23 cents there on Twitter. Target down, man. If we can get reloaded back up here around 45, let's do that as Twitter right now falling apart. Your boy has Twitter and Apple on the mind right now.
Fascinating play. I was not going to think to short Twitter given how much the markets have been rallying, especially the Qs from yesterday night. But now if we take a look at the Qs on my side, I think we hit a double top near the 370 area. Again, like Sean was saying about earlier, with the 13-day rally in Apple pretty much causing this sort of a catalyst for the Qs to go up so much. I think it's time for us to cool down a bit. I'm seeing a double top on my chart. Sorry if it's a little bit messy here. But yesterday I was talking about 339, 340 on the Qs. We gapped lower just a little bit, trying to hold to the upside. We shall see where we go today. Yeah, very, very fascinating for the markets. I'm seeing the commodities today rise. We have gold, silver, both up 1% and 2% respectively on a stronger dollar. very interestingly enough, again, rising rates. I think, again, this is going to be a catalyst for the downside. I want to see if we can test the start of the March lows again, where, again, was all the way back down at 318, pretty much shot right back up. And now, again, I think we're moving to the downside. Let's see if this level can hold, because I think for long term, this is going to be a very, very important level.
Okay, so yeah, good analysis there. I agree with you, man. I mean, and I don't know why I'm sitting here shorting Apple more, but I just cannot believe this market move up. I mean, am I missing something here, Brendo? This could just honestly just be from last week, man. I mean, we got absolutely destroyed last week in the Qs, so you could see that, especially into the latter part of the week, Tony. I know you were doing the midday show, and I mean, the afternoon, there's some action happening, but if you notice here on the 20-minute chart, you've seen the Qs just from the last couple days. I mean, it's definitely to the downside move here. So let's go. We just reloaded. We are into Apple right now. And the reason why I bring that up about the Qs is because I was definitely debating AMD. AMD is off right now, man. AMD's up 1%, 4 times what the market's up right now. And AMD really trying to get back up. This is a great sign. If AMD takes long through 94.70, let's even call this a 95 break, then I think we can get back. I mean, I don't know if we get to 98 today, but if this market doesn't slow down, then we're probably good to go here. As AMD right now trying to get back upside. Look, I'm dug in pretty decently right now to Apple, so this is a new trade for me. Look at Twitter right now. Let's go. Flushing down the toilet. Tony, you are good luck, my friend. As here we go. Let's go. Are we going to get 34s right now on Twitter? Bang, to the bottom side. Here goes Twitter. There it goes. Give me those 34s. It just touched 34, and we missed them. But we are, I don't know why we're sitting at 34, but we are. And there's the fill for that one on 34 as we go chicken dinner winners for everybody. Last night, Tony, I destroyed prime rib.
Wow, what a dinner.
Yes, sir, man. What you do is it's 5. So I'll just tell you this because have you made prime rib before?
No,
So
I haven't.
I put it in. This is how I did it. Oven. So it's 5 minutes per pound on 500. Ooh. And then you put it in there. You don't even look at it for 2 hours. You pull that out, and that was about as good as can be, man. I had some butter. I lathered it with butter, some thyme. We had some garlic on there, some onion powder, everything like that. I have no idea where I'm going with this, but yeah. Oh, it's chicken dinner winners. But yesterday was nice little. Oh, and then we had the Impossible Burger as well instead of Beyond. I think the wife prefers Beyond, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But you got any trade ideas right now? As I got to work this Apple. Started to come down, then came right back up.
Oh, that sounds like a fascinating story. You should invite me over for your dinner sometime, like a try out those
for sure,
meals for you. Let's see. As for trades today, I know we were talking about AMD earlier. Fascinating how this is moving all the way down from the top, 164, not so long ago, all the way back from the start of December. Now we're almost cut in half at 93 at the moment. I think we're starting to see a little bit of bottom here. But talking about a stock that actually has not been doing very well at all, PayPal has been at 102 now. We saw a bottom low of the year at 92 back earlier in March. This stock has been at $300. Back in June, July of last year. I mean, during the bubble, that was like close to a $100 P ratio for PayPal, a stock that was $500 billion at its peak, but we're down 70% almost from the top. I think this stock is something I want to look at. As for trade ideas, it's down on the day where the Qs just made a massive recovery. It was at 103 earlier today. It doesn't really want to hold. And we're just talking about Friday news, I remember. Their CFO got poached all the way to Walmart. So this stock, I think I want to kind of just, we might want to trade this range bound, but going long. A bit iffy at the moment. I want to see an absolute bottom, and then maybe then we can start going to alongside for a swing trade or for a long-term investment. But that's my views on PayPal.
Unfortunately, yeah, I like that. And good call on the poaching of the CFO. I was saying that they should have fired that CEO a hell of a long time ago because drove that company into the ground, man. I don't know. PayPal's been really struggling. Okay, Twitter. I mean, we couldn't have gotten any better. The problem was I didn't realize that I had my bid sitting here to get long. So we got in and out there on a nice little dollar straight move to the downside here for Twitter. We hammered that one, but now you're coming right back into this level of 44.80 with that bottom being 44.70. So I'm debating this now. It's straight to the downside with the market straight to the upside. So I'm going to back away from some Twitter longs and just wish I was still Twitter short, but we are not. One last reload here for Apple, to be honest with you. If it breaks above this 166.25, it just looks like we'll be wrong, man. Bloomberg did us dirty right here. you know, kind of talking about supply chain issues. It doesn't seem like they're too concerned about that, but I got to be concerned about my net because we do have, you know, too many shares here. The first little trade that we made was small because we talked about that. I just was like, oh man, if this market falls off the open, we definitely wanted to be short. But right now, we only have one position, and it's Apple right there. And we do got to go over to Brendan. What's up?
Market, yeah, day highs. Guys, just seeing a little bit of strength coming through in retail stocks. I'll show you Macy's here, still down a full percent, but bounced off 25.40 on decent volume back to the upside. The other one, Wendy's, with a nice little spike to the upside, was down initially on a downgrade, but trying to get higher as well for Wendy's.
I did see that about Wendy's earlier, down to 20 bucks. Okay, yeah, starting to get back up. The name that I really like out of all of those would be Macy's. I mean, I think that has, you know, a lot of oomph to it. It can get going, especially if the retail sector turns itself around. I personally am so surprised at how poorly Macy's, well, actually, last couple of days it's been okay. Again, what is going on with these charts, man? I'll have to refresh them and figure this out. Maybe if I clear the cache on these charts, that's what I'm always told to do that. So let's do that quickly here and get going right now. Chart data right here. Clear data, and then we'll say okay, and then hopefully this will load up, Tony, and then we'll be able to get some more Macy's data. But I do like that as a play. I've also liked Gap to come in too as well. Gap's been beat down. I know they have a huge online presence, but for right now, I'm really just working with Apple as that's starting to come back in here. So Apple's starting to come back in. My average price is 164.90, so we're out of the money now 20 cents, which isn't so bad. Nucor up to 167. That's ripping today as well. And Twitter might have found that bottom, man. Maybe we're right. Maybe we do have something here with Twitter. But again, if the market comes back in, I don't want to be long Twitter, so that's the difference. But it did come right back into this 44.20 area. As the market falls, though, here, we have a nice little trade in Apple. Look at that. Look at that. That's AMD. We talked about AMD, Tony, and that we wanted to try to get that short. Don't know why we didn't push it. It came right back in there. And honestly, we have it right here looking for 95, 96. So it didn't quite get to that level, but I'm feeling like that's now fade opportunity for any sort of a bump up for AMD. So here comes Apple right back into the money, hopefully in a couple seconds. That'll be happening, and then we'll look to get short on AMD. Just going to find some levels for you.
Talking about shorts, I was actually going short on PayPal just now when I was talking about how it wasn't doing so well. I didn't want to go long on it, so I'm thinking, well, I think the market's a little bit overextended from the rally we saw overnight from the lows at the bottom. So I'm going short on PayPal, went short at 101.10. I am 35 cents in the money on that one. My first trade of the day, I thought that was really good. Speaking of Wendy's downgrade, I want to talk about McDonald's real quick, actually. This stock has been holding up quite well, and it just fascinates me to see a lot of these blue chip names that have been not following the S&P, not following the NASDAQ. Items like Coca-Cola, which I've been mentioning on the show. My school, the college I went to, was like one of the largest shareholder of the company somehow. And, you know, Coca-Cola's at an all-time high, along with McDonald's. These names, I think, if you just hold it rather than trade them, you know, you might take them somewhere. So, but that's my 2 cents over on McDonald's.
I cannot believe I like that. What is your go-to at McDonald's there? If I should say, Tony, you get one combo, what are you throwing down?
Fascinatingly enough, I actually have a coupon in my wallet right now, which is get one extra value meal at $6.50.
No coupon, no coupon.
No coupon.
Let's just say I said to you, you could go nuts and get whatever you want. For mine, it would still be the original. I'm going with the Big Mac.
I got to agree with you. The Big Mac is just unbeatable. You got the Thousand Island dressing. I think some variation of that. I tried making it myself. Wasn't very good. I might just have to buy this from
you tried making it
McDonald's.
yourself at one point. But Tony, it's time. It's time right now because the market's starting to go to the downside right here. And guess what's happening? Your boy beside you right now, we're smoking as right here, Apple to the downside, coming back down in, man, 164.80 coming in right now for Apple. We just took out a little bit there at 164.60. We may have counted our chickens a little bit prematurely there as it's starting to go back up, but I definitely like this sort of action here. The NASDAQ may have ticked higher. On that note, though, we are now in on a 50-period take for AMD. AMD started to go back to the downside there. So we were like, hey, man, if this is the collapse of the market, we know what names we want to be in. We're in Apple on that Bloomberg report. We're in AMD here now as well. So these are two names that I like. Off that 50 period, I am averaging into this name until we break through 95. I want to be wrong if I'm wrong. So that's going to be a breakthrough 95 on that one. If the shorts don't come in today, then color me purple. I will be red. Brendo?
Yeah, I think that works. Oxy, guys, we talked about oil going from 0.4 to 1.4 in the pre-market. Here we go, 4.5% now, just took out day highs there, 62 on a break of decent volume anyways. Back to recent highs for Oxy.
Yeah, shoot, man. We talked, that's funny about Oxy, because didn't I say I wanted to get the long if it broke through, what, 61, something like that here today? Look, there's the 61 break, and then there it is straight up $1. It's absolutely embarrassing. And it's actually more embarrassing that I'm not still short Twitter, because we had this short. This is the name that we wanted short today. And unfortunately, I was sitting there, got long, and then got out. Because I was like, uh-oh, it ran right into my bid, and I had more shares on the bid because we had emptied some of these out, and I really haven't looked back at it. But it is trying to bounce off some of these lows there. So there is something here of a 44.80 or so on Twitter. It's just not a name that I want to be short, because right now I've got 99 problems, and shorts are one of them right now, because the market bounces off that 50 period, not expected at all. Now I'm actually fearing that maybe we do run to 14,000 on the NASDAQ. So we got to find some long. So if there's anything in the chat, guys, MDVL, shout out to Dominic. Let's have a quick look at that MDVL here on the NASDAQ. I know this is Medavale Holdings, I believe it was, from last week. So there's another name here. This doesn't probably have news. It might have news, but a nice little move back up to the upside here, taking out that 320. And again, new highs on MDVL right now, just taking out Friday's levels, of $3. And there it goes straight to the upside. MDVL taking out 3 and starting to move higher. Actually, was that Friday's low? Yeah, well, no, not Friday's high, I guess. But December is come and gone here. Back in December is where we were last at this $3 level. And now you're looking back here, $4 back to September. So that could be a level for MDVL. But unfortunately, right now, I am loaded up here into Apple. So I'm going to have to put some of my focus on this name as we're about to tick back higher. Wow. How's your PayPal doing?
PayPal. Looks like I'm still in the money here, but maybe it's time for me to start closing my position. Looks like it's holding just a little bit of support over back down there at the, actually touched all the way to 164. 100 is going to be a really strong even dollar break. So if it starts breaking below 100, that's probably game over for PayPal. But for the moment, it looks like we're holding really, really well. 101.75 at the moment. I think I'm going to be continuing to stay short on this name just because I'm feeling kind of weak about the markets. Talking about a really weak name, actually. One stock I've been looking at a lot on the other show was Upstart. This thing just broke $80, flushing to the downside, down 3.5% at this point. This stock was $400 back over the summer. And just, it's been a crazy, crazy year, like 2020, 2021, now moving over to 2022. I think 2022, it's just game over for a lot of these speculative names with how far we've been going down. Like Upstart here, it was just a rocket up, and we actually tanked just as quickly as we went up. So this company gives out loans to individuals, oftentimes without income. They gave me a loan when I had no income. So now I think when we're talking about bad loans this morning with the banks, if you want bad loans, I think Upstart, that's going to be a name for you to look at, because this company just gives loans to individuals who may not, hopefully will qualify someday, as they say, with education.
Yeah,
but,
you got that. You got that. Just make sure you pay back your loans, man. You don't want to ruin your credit there.
No, I'm a shareholder. Of course, I owe them, money. I'm not going to take
use
no
a firm
shares.
as well. Buy now, pay never. Okay, nice little win here for AMD as it's starting to go to the downside. That's a 50-cent winner, and Apple's trying to go as well. What's up, Brendo?
Firm starting to go here. Big spike on volume back to 36 there. Some rumors floating around with a GS, Goldman Sachs, tie-up with a firm, guys.
Yeah. We talked about that last week. There was some rumors there. Also, Brendo last week was something with a firm possibly getting taken down as well, or like a higher bid coming up there. But that's nice. Okay, so AMD, again, starting to make moves to the downside. Boom, boom, boom. We know the name we like. I'm done getting out of this one until we retest some of these levels where there's been support. Like, wow, okay, AMD here. Yeah, feels like this is Friday all over again here, Tony. And by Friday, I mean Thursday, of course. As AMD continues to make that move to the downside, let's check out a firm, AFRM, in honor of Neil, because he's normally looking at a firm. And I was telling these guys, man, and I've made some bad investments too, but like, why people like this name up where they did, I don't know. They're getting hit as well. A huge spike up. I guess that's the spike that Brendan's talking about, but it just fell all the way back down. So watch out as this market comes in. We're well in the money. I'm really upset that I don't have Twitter anymore, but yeah, AMD's been a crank to the downside, and I'm just waiting for Apple to work itself out. It's trying to go. We did get a nice bid down there when we started celebrating. Let's see if it continues to go to the downside. Your McDonald's is staying to the upside as well right now. And then a big mover, Camber Energy right now. Wow, Camber, up through $1 right now, starting to make that move. Started at 97 cents here today, trying to take down $1. I do like stock that trade above $1, so Camber definitely on watch as well. But honestly, AMD definitely working to the downside, Apple not. So I'm going to have another quick look at these two names.
Talking about downside, I think Chinese stocks today have been absolutely tanking. Alibaba down 3.5%, NIO down 5%, Pinduoduo down 6%. And these names were, ripping at one point earlier in the year. Now with all these regulatory issues, I haven't actually been following the news quite often this morning, unfortunately. Wish I was. I had to wake up at 5 to start filing my taxes because I just been completely procrastinating on that. They're due today, by the way, over in the States. So, I was struggling with that. But these Chinese names, I wish I was following the news a little bit more closely because it's a complete reversal from what we've been seeing back over just a couple weeks ago on the news that the Chinese government was going to prop up some of these markets because of how far they've fallen. So over here, over on Alibaba, over on NIO, over on PDD, I want to catch some of these shorts because it looks like there's absolutely no resistance or absolutely no level of support in the short term. I'm interested in shorting this, especially if the markets are looking as weak as they currently do, because this could be a major, major mover to the downside.
Yeah, you don't. Your taxes can't be too complicated, are they?
I worked for 4 different employers and had 5 different brokerage accounts. It's been a struggling just finding.
I thought
my
you'd say you had
W-2s.
too much profits in those brokerage accounts. Remember?
No profits.
Yeah,
They've
so
been
you
rough.
don't pay taxes then.
I still got to file them and find them.
Okay. We'll get on that. Good luck on the taxes. Ours due the end of this month, and yeah, I got to get on that as well. So I'm a little nervous about that heading through just to get them done. It's not. That's to me is the big thing. It's just sitting down and doing them because it's like it's overwhelming, and I do them myself. So that's that. Okay, my taxes aren't too complicated. All right, Facebook coming to the downside now a little bit. Still positive, which is what I wanted to look at. I liked Facebook's strength over the last couple of days, and I don't know if my trades are going to show up here from Friday, but you see a nice little dip down. We're just finally now getting back to some of these levels. We've already ripped up to 211.50 today and fallen back in, so this is definitely a level right here for something to look at. Man, that Twitter just keeps on going to the downside as well as that's starting to fall off here. 44.50. Disgusting. I should still be short 46, Tony, and then we'd really, really be laughing. But let's go over to Brent and see if we got something else.
DD Global just popping back to the upside here a little bit on volume. It's worth mentioning. Back above 2, down huge. Anyways, pre-market, they were discussing not if, but when the delisting will come and what their plan will be going forward. So special shareholder meeting scheduled, guys, for the DDD listing. Okay,
DD. And by the way, Tony, let's go again. Let's hit the siren because there goes AMD. And it's about, I like that, Tony, getting that little fist pump action there. Yeah, look, the market's starting to come down, and we just went over to something that we knew was going to be short for a while, and that's going to be AMD. It just hasn't been able to work out. When you're going to have supply chain issues and just production's going to be a problem, AMD has been really beat down, man, and I don't know when to step in to buy this thing, to be completely honest with you, but you could see it's just 1, 2, 3, whoops. There's almost the opposite of Apple here. We have 10, 15 straight days of nothing but downside here. We've already broke through that 100, so this is what we look at for AMD. Unfortunately, I'll have to get another chart here to zoom in to see where we could get some support, but honestly, like back down into here, we could still see 85 coming for AMD. But there goes Apple right now. This has been, Tony, I'm having one of my best mornings here, shorting Twitter, shorting Apple, and now shorting AMD. And I mean, this is starting to work out, man. Here goes Apple right down to the downside. So let's keep this party going and start to ring some more registers here as we break back down below 165 and just continue to march lower. Your boy is getting elevated again right now. Hey, what's Arun doing? We'll find out from Arun. Maybe we can get an update on him to see if he's looking at anything here. But right now, Apple's starting to get accelerated to the downside. We should still have Twitter, but we have Apple and AMD short right now, and they're both cashing, man. AMD's $1 in the money, Apple nicely in the money, and I'm going to assume that your PayPal's kind of cruising as well.
Cruising on my PayPal. I think I might just hold this name for the entire day. We're at 101.43. We might try to test 100 today if the markets start going to the downside. But I'm still short over at 102.10. So now I'm nearly $1 in the money. I think I'm pretty comfortable where I am. I'm short quite a few shares. So let's have to see what happens. Talking back about AMD, I know a friend actually who's been liquidating his gaming rigs. We've been having supply chain issues as well, but I've been noticing that the price of cards have been up so much. It reminds me of the housing prices, really, or at least the asset bull back in 2021. Graphics cards have been absolutely going through the roof on these shortages, and I think we're starting to see a little bit of a correction now, just with how much things have been booming over in 2021. AMD down, NVIDIA still holding a little bit better than AMD, but the gaming cards over here, as well as supply chain issues, major catalyst to the downside as reflected by the price charts over here. So I'll be really fascinated to see what happens to AMD here. We were at $94 at one point today, flushed right back down over to the close. We're actually down 1% right now on AMD. So one of the stronger names among the tech sector names today, at least the ones I've been looking at. But overall, it's been kind of bearish. So I really like that short.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, ooh. Now we're getting excited here because the NASDAQ is starting to fall down. This is exactly like we have, honestly, I'm kind of on one again here today as we're short Apple 165 right now, big shares, and we're short AMD $93, and we still should be short Twitter, but we're not. Wow, we are getting elevated right here, Brendo. Anything about this move? What you got for us over there?
Some of the coal names back to the downside, it looks like. This is one of them, was up big time earlier, but HNRG just popped up on volume to the downside. You can have a look at CLF as well. I did note starting to come, yeah, there we go, back to the downside here, almost day lows. Now down 1.5 for Cliffs, guys.
Oh, wow. Okay, so much stuff happening right now. But I'm honestly, Tony, right now $1.35 in the money on AMD, so we'll fire off the sausage cannon. And then we're also in the money now, 90 cents on Apple, as this just fell back in right now. So this is going to look silly that I have these shorts, but really, this is the levels that we're talking about. And if you're going to follow me again, I didn't have great amount of, too many opportunities to do the sticky note today. But look, tell everybody what this price says right here.
Wow, 165.50.
165.50. And what does it say? What is this word? Short.
Short, that's
okay,
right.
So if you look at Apple right now, we put down short 165.50. Attention to the traders behind. On the sticky note, Apple short 165.50. Tony, how about these trades? 165.50, 165.55, 165.50 there, 165.27, and now $1 in the money.
Wow.
So sometimes, and again, no, it's not. It's nice. The sticky note's working. It doesn't work all the time. What we're talking about here is having a bias, understanding that the news came out from Bloomberg. Get our watch list on tradertv.live. Hit it up. I mean, that's literally all that I did. I was panicking here because I did think Arun would be here. Today, there was some miscommunication problems, and thankfully, you were able to step in. I want to give a big shout out to Tony, and I want to give a big shout out to everybody in the chat, because believe me, sitting in this chair, although, maybe we make it look easy, I can tell you, and maybe you can say, it's not as easy as, but I'm super glad to have you here and having a lot of fun with you. Tony Toronto is in the building, and the NASDAQ just keeps coming down. Congratulations on some of those shorts that you're holding as well.
Oh, thank you. And believe me, like you said, it might look kind of easy. I'm really nervous, guys. This is like butterflies in my stomach. This is like me at my 6th grade talent show playing my recorder over there when I forgot half the song. It was not a good experience.
How did you forget the song, though?
Like back when
Weren't you prepping for this?
When you're 12, you're like an interesting character. It's like you're always high. You don't think.
Wait a minute. When you're 12, you're interesting. I couldn't imagine what you'd be like when you were 12. That would have been just a blast. Where's that, Atlanta?
Oh no, this was me back when I was still in Canada. Actually, I went to school in Toronto. I grew up in Toronto. That's the story here.
Which school?
I was back in North York actually, back near the Scarborough, North York area.
Okay.
But no, it's bringing back some memories.
Shout out to North York.
North York gang. That's where I'm at. But yeah, I think as for my trades today, I think I'm seeing another name actually over here on Shopify, down 4%. Again, it's still above the lows back in early March, but again, most names are. This is now at 557, a long ways from where we were. It's e-commerce name, huge e-commerce name. You don't need me telling you that. You guys already know. Down like 70% from where we were back in November. Easy to say, all these names have absolutely collapsed. This is like all of Canada's economy right here in the tech sector. Shopify, like the second largest name, I believe, at one point. But it's been really hard for all these companies that, are growth names, tech names. It's looking kind of ugly for them. I kind of want to short all of these, actually. Like Shopify, it's only down 4% when the Qs are only down 1/10 of that. Like all these names, they don't really follow the Qs in a sense. It goes down with the Qs, doesn't really recover with the Qs. So you got to be careful when you're holding names like Shopify, Upstart, Affirm. And I can name you the rest of my portfolio, or at least not these names. My names are even weaker than these, so I don't even want to mention those today. But yeah, the market here not looking too well for growth. Got to be careful in this economy. I'm favoring the short in today's trade.
Yeah, that's a good call there. And yeah, shout out to York. People getting some love for York. I need to log in because I just noticed right now Rivian. I didn't pay for shorts, and whoops, and it looks like it is short a bull right there for that. So let's check out Rivian quickly right now and have a quick look to see what Rivian fell off. We brought you that story earlier down there from 39 bucks, falling out there from 40, hits 39, cranks a little bit lower on Rivian. So although Rivian had a monster day there on Thursday, starting to come back into some of these levels where we are looking for some shorts. We do have Apple on the go, and we do have AMD on the go as well. But for right now, it's Ms. V on our mind. What's up?
Tony, we've got a super chat for you. $80 super chat from Wolf of Broad Street. Thank you so much. 80, so generous of you. Tony, how do you feel about crypto?
It's right in here.
What's your opinion on crypto?
Wow, crypto. It's I've actually just been looking at Coinbase today, and it's been flushing to the downside. This is pretty much like a 52-week low. Crypto, I've always really wanted to get in that name. The earliest story I have with crypto actually was back when Bitcoin was just like $2,000 or $3,000. I was ordering cigarettes, you know, off like online from like foreign countries just because they wouldn't sell to me here, and it's a little bit more expensive over in the States. We have to pay taxes on everything. This person only accepted payments using Bitcoin. So I bought, you know, like half of Bitcoin back then. It was like a, you know, $2,000 each or something. This was like, or $3,000, I forget exactly when. But that, if I was still holding that, I thought it was a great deal for myself at that time. If I was still holding, you know, I'd be a lot richer than what I am. But crypto, not looking good today, along with the rising rates. People are saying cryptocurrencies, pretty much just a hedge, just like gold is, just like silver is. I'm not quite sure about that, unfortunately. If you take a look here at BTC, we're at 39,000. You know, we're going down today. We're recovering quite a bit nicely. We were down to 38.5 earlier this morning. But again, looking kind of weak for cryptocurrencies here. Cryptocurrencies kind of in their own bubble. I feel this thing just rips once every 3 years. You know, we had the huge bubble back in, all the way back in 2017, 2018, which I kind of got in here and held. You know, eventually faded. It was like a big boom. You know, just boom and bust periods for crypto. I think we kind of hit the top here, unfortunately, for this period. It's like the 7th or the 8th wave where Bitcoin just like surges and absolutely collapses. Fortunately, not seeing too much strength over here, but I'm telling you, if this thing drops anywhere close, like 30,000 again, 25, I'm snatching this thing up because I'm not missing out again. But I love cryptocurrency. I think it is very much the future of payments. We get those gas fees just a little bit lower, those transaction fees a little bit lower. I'm bullish on crypto in the long term.
Yeah, look over at Matic or Solana or some of those Avalanche, some of those other. If you think gas fees are a problem, yeah, I'd switch off of Ethereum and look to some of those new layers again for a little bit different risk there. Yeah, Tony, man. Yeah, you know, if you just didn't smoke and you'd kept those Bitcoins right now, then you wouldn't have those problems. But I like the no filter over here. This guy's pretty unbelievable. And hey, if you want more stories, man, those super chats seem to pull out the best of Tony. So
they bring out the memories. That's for sure.
Bring out the memories, and we never know what's gonna happen here today. Live on tradertv.live, we have Tony, we have myself, and over at the big screen, we have Brendan with Happening Now.
Hey guys, bit of a mixed board to show you to kick off the new week here. We are back in the red, obviously, for the S&P, but only just. You can see 0.13. The Dow exactly flat. You saw there very briefly. 0.15 for the Russell. We're back and forth for small caps, basically right across the board. The NASDAQ is still leading, 0.5%, 0.3 for the composite, and the 100 here in Toronto, still a positive day, but only just 0.2 for the TSX. A couple of things we were talking about if you joined us in the pre-market this morning. Tesla was one of those ahead of earnings coming up on Wednesday. We tested pre-market highs before all the way back to 975. So a bit of a red day. That's the wrong direction. A bit of a red day for Tesla, 0.8, though still to the downside. DD, I mentioned breaking that pre-market high, gave you a nice move up to about 215, but still huge volume, guys, on DD. Trying to get back higher after the delisting news this morning. The date set, obviously, if you missed it for the shareholder meeting on DD's delisting in the NYSE, guys.
You ever, I guess, when's the last time you were born in China?
Was that? Yeah, it was.
When was the last time?
When was the last time I was born in China? It was.
I was going to ask you about DD, but I think they're a relatively new company. I don't know if you've.
No, it was a solid 22 years ago. So I've been away for a while. It's been a long time since I was last there.
22 years, you say? Okay, right now things are getting a little nasty for your boy again because look what just happened to the market again. So you know what? I'm just guessing that honestly we're just going to be wrong here, and the market just either wants to play ping pong again, go back and forth, or it wants to go higher. I feel like it had an opportunity there to take down these lows, and I thought we were cranking lower. But as you could see, we're just getting higher and higher and higher now. So we've turned a big day here, still into a good day. I mean, we're still short Apple, still 40 cents in the money, but look where we just came from. Excuse me, all the way from the bottom, and now we're here. So a little bit of Drake song there, but you know, started from the bottom, now we're here. You know that song, Tony?
Absolutely. How can you not know
You're a
Drake?
club kid, right?
Yeah, kind of.
You're probably half my age, bro. So. Okay, let's just get going here. Half my age and double the looks. This Tony guy is killing it. All right, so yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to wait on Apple. I will reload this thing back up to 165. We've cashed in on it. There's no doubt about that. It's been a good trade. The real one that I'm worried about here is going to be AMD. AMD, my killer spot was going to be $95. If we got back up here into 95, then that was going to be an area of concern for me because you have some bottoms there. We never saw it on Friday once it hit and went out. Boom, there's 95. See you down to the bottom 93. So I'm going to have to use that as a little bit of an area of concern for me, and that's going to be 95. But I did want to get long on something, and I'm thinking that Facebook, oh man, Facebook just bumped. Like, look at the Facebook bump here. Absolutely monstrous. We talked about why we wanted to get long Facebook, and it is definitely working to the high side. So Facebook continues to work, man. If there's going to be a name we're going to get long on, it should be that. I don't know what your PayPal's doing at all from there. Yo, shut up, Playmaker. What's up? How are the Miami Heat? Yeah, actually made some money betting the Miami Heat. Today we have a big opportunity again for the Raptors, man. We're going to lose Scotty Barnes for another game. I don't know if you saw the Raptors game on Saturday, but they absolutely crapped pretty hard. So they took
20 points, I saw.
Yeah, they took it on the chin there. So we'll see if they can get it back today. But that Embiid is going to be a problem. I did pick Philly to win the East. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do like Philly. But I do love our Raptors as well. So, yeah, I don't know. I need to find some longs here. That BBIG, I guess it went the other way since I'm not in on this name yet. I had a BBIG break of 260. That didn't look like that did much, down to 240 in the other way. MDVL here for all you guys trading that. Did have that move up and now settled back down again. I haven't had much luck trading these moves unless I get them the initial move, so that's not happening. And then the fan favorite, as you know probably from from Wednesday and Thursday, Veru was definitely talked about. And today you're back down into that 13 level for VEREU and therapeutics. They're just back into here. Brendan will definitely be on this note. This was popping all last week, Brendo, when you weren't here. Look at the volume on the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th. Veru goes from $4 up to 17, so definitely a name on watch. But for me, I got to work this AMD trade. I'm pretty happy with Apple, but AMD's starting to come back in. Let's figure out where we want to go with this name. Ms. V, what's up quickly?
Hey guys, we've got a super chat from Dominic Familaro bringing us a name, HNRG. It's up around 13%, moving along with the coal sector overall. 23 million free float on that name, HNRG, guys.
Wow, HNRG. He mentioned this on the chat quite often back on Thursday and Wednesday show. I was thinking, like, what's so special about this name? This just seems like an energy play, you know, pretty steady. I don't know what's so exciting about it. Low volume. Well, this guy is clairvoyant or something, because this thing's up 13%. It's ripping on massive volume now. Again, I'm not quite sure what this play quite is over here, unfortunately, but all I can say is this thing's going up, up, and up. Again, over here back in the day, we had a little bit of resistance. It's all the way back in 2019. We're trading at this level around $6 for a really long time. We had some issues actually breaking the $6 range, but again, this, you know, with how this has been behaving in the past 3 days, I wish I did more research on this company with how often you've been mentioning it. I kind of want to go along. If we start seeing like 650, again, this thing looks like a ripper. What are your thoughts?
Oh, my thoughts? My thoughts are moot point right now, because right now I'm just looking, I'm trying to get Apple. I missed getting more short there, so I'm trying to get something into the 70s for Apple. I'm almost thinking now that we can take an upsized position on this name and then use this 165.08. Okay, there it is. Now we have some shares right now for Apple. I'm trying to use this 165.10 or so area here for Apple. So if that can come back in, we will try that. It's right at the 50 period. It's starting to come back in a little bit. My obvious only worry is going to be these futures. If the futures take out this top, then we're DOA. Do you know what DOA means?
Dead on arrival.
Dead on arrival, right. So our Apple trade is dead on arrival if it does take that out. So right now, things ripping against me, man. AMD going against me, Apple going against me. I don't have a problem flipping long. No problems with that at all. It's just right now the read wrong way here as we took advantage of the initial short. Now it's 10:07. The market seems to be settling down. And if anything, it's going to the upside. Damn it. Can't believe we missed that Facebook. That was the one name. And again, we have it on our sticky note right here. The one name that we were looking for long was Facebook, and we missed that. And you know what level I said? 212. Look at Facebook here. We had, and I'm going to throw to Brendan in a second, we had that 212, man. It should have been taken right there. Lots of opportunities to take that 212. You'd now be in the money 75 cents. But hey, man, we got a way bigger fish to fry right now, including Apple and AMD both working against me. But someone who's never working against us, what's up, Brendo?
TGTX, little therapeutics company, popping back up once again. Just tagged 7 on the high side there. I was down pre-market this morning. They discontinued one of their trials on some bad data. So a bit of a bounce underway, though, for TGTX.
Still looking at this Apple trade as it's not really working out for me. AMD starting to come back in. You have any long ideas? Because, or why don't you look at, like, there's oil, there's Oxy. People are looking at it. Unfortunately, guys, I do have a pretty upsized position in Apple right now. So come on, baby. If we can get something out, we'll take a little bit out of this name, as we do have a decent amount of shares now on that reload right there, 78. So we need to get a lot lower than that. So let's see if Apple wants to come back in right now. I'm looking for, honestly, like these kind of wicks, like 30s, 60s, stuff like that. I don't have a bid until 33 for Apple. So I am expecting a little bit of a lower move here in AAPL. And then really AMD, I don't really want to get too much involved in the short, as this is starting to take it out. I'm waiting for 95. If that comes and goes, then yeah, again, that DOA comes into play one more time.
Talking about these tech names back here, NASDAQ holding up really, really strong. We hit a new high of day just a moment ago here, kind of pushed back down just a little bit. But you know what really, really irks me is, like, when I'm on the show, when I see NASDAQ's up 2%, I'm like, great. At least hopefully my biotechs aren't going to be down today. But you look at your phone there and it's like it manages to be down on a 2% day. So, you know, that's unfortunately kind of what we're seeing here with some of the larger names. We have DraftKings, SoFi. I know we were talking about sports betting just a while ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to watch a Raptors game. I was over serving at the Jays. Again, if you're seeing me there, I'll pour you a tall one. But yeah, DraftKings here still down 2% on a day where NASDAQ is up, if not, you know, flat, if not up. It's been beaten down so hard. There's too much competition, like you were mentioning, over here in the betting space in DraftKings. If you go to Boston, this is the only ad you'll see plastered over here on the subways. It's a big name, but again, we're cooling off here just like with SoFi. Student loans, Biden putting a hot hold on that. You know, I always wanted to get in this name. I knew this was going to be a winner as soon as they announced the you know, the SPAC definitive agreement back when it was, you know, in January of last year. But this has just been looking a bit too ugly, even for my liking, unfortunately. So tech names a bit on the weaker side today. You have like the strong side of tech. You got, you know, the Apples, the Microsofts, but at the same time, you got the stocks been down just 80%. You got the upstarts. You got the SoFi's, DraftKings, Shopify's. I can keep on going quite a bit. So all I can say here is, you know, if you're investing for a long term, you got to know your names. And this is not a market for pre-earnings companies, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, great call there. Yeah, that market's really dried up as far as investments coming in on pre-IPOs and things like that. All right, so I like SoFi, but the same reason that you were just mentioning, that student loans, like Joe Biden threw cold water on student loan repayment, and you talked about, you know, some of the loans that you had there with Upstart and whatnot. So
I'll still pay back mine. I promise. Upstart.
It's not about not paying it back. I'm just saying that this is a problem, obviously.
Absolutely.
Firms are going to have to account for. So,
yeah.
And I'm going to go right over to a firm again. It had that beautiful spike one more time to $36. So I don't know, man. Right now, the reload on Apples seems to be working. We got that reload right there at 78. It came right into some of these levels again, and I got out. I did say that I was bidding 30. The lowest it got was 40, which got me upset. So then I started getting some out on the way back up. So we did have a great little pick there for Apple. But again, if it doesn't want to come to the downside, like what we need right now is a break of this 50 period. If we can get a break of the 50 period in the NASDAQ, then, man, we will be cooking with gas here. And then I think a retest of the downside, man, would be huge for us right now. But we're sitting in Apple and we're sitting in AMD. What's up, Brendo?
Elon just saying, guys, board salary will be 0 if my bid succeeds, saving $3 million a year right out of the gate. So just saw Twitter pop back to the upside here through 46 once again, trying to get going.
Yeah, wow, Twitter getting excited. Big time move to the upside there. And by the way, we also called that bottom. I just didn't have, you know, the guts to take it down there, as now Twitter's right back to day's high. So definitely a news story here. I got bigger problems because the NASDAQ is starting to go back up. And it definitely looks like, guys, that this, we may have to do a last straw on AMD. I mean, if AMD does take out this 95, I mean, that's 95 right there. It's some of these levels that we're looking at. So one more load back into 95 for AMD, and then look at the market. Like, it's taking off and breaking new highs right now. So everything's starting to get really accelerated really fast. So yeah, I don't care about that salary, like $3 million, honestly. I mean, that's not tipping. I mean, that's great. Whatever, I'll take that for sure. But for a board seat, I don't know what that kind of looks like. But yeah, salaries for CEOs and things like that. I mean, he hasn't taken one in Tesla forever, so I feel like that's par for the course for Mr. Elon. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, a lot of people on the chat talk about CASA. It is ripping up 72% right now. So maybe we can take a look at that one. And guys, please don't forget to like this video. It's a busy day so far, but we still need your like. We're super close to 2,000 likes. So please smash the like, and back to you guys.
CASA Systems, massive ripper today. I wish I was paying a little bit more attention to the news, because I think I could have called this one. This thing was up all the way, gapped up to it gapped up a bit higher to $6 this morning, closed at 4 from the previous day. But volume-wise, we've never seen this volume anything close to this in the history of this stock's trading. So I'll be fascinating to see what the catalyst here today is. And we're trading at 63 million shares at let's say a VWAP of 6. That's like almost $500 million there. Or half a trillion. No, $500 million. Sorry, excuse me. I can't do my math over here. Fascinating to see what this is. This looks like it's ripping a bit shy from the intraday high over here, but this thing, it's just going without a pullback. Going up just a little bit. Pullback here. You see like what, 2 red candles in the 15 minutes chart, and we've been open since like what, 9:30 today, and it's already 10:15. So crazy mover today. I think on a 5-minute chart here, looks like we got even more gas going. This is, I think, a definition of like a long setup for me. I kind of want to go in here. As for when you want to get out, always important to have a stop loss when you enter a momentum trade this spicy. I'd say over here, 576, spotting the pullback just previous might be a good out. So you have $1 out. But to the upside, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing hits 7, 8, well, obviously 7, but 9, 10, $11 today. So curious to see where this might lead us.
Yeah, good, interesting name there, CASA. Thanks, Ms. V, and thank you for the chat as well. And thank you for having the chat so good today here, guys. It's been a really great day for us, and a great day for the chat as well. So, and a big shout out to Tony for stepping in one more time for Neil and for Arun. So, good job there. Let's just keep this party started and keep it going, I guess. It's already started. Started early today for me, and I'm looking to maybe short Twitter. Twitter came right back into levels that we were sort of like, yeah, maybe I'd short that. But I don't like all this headline risk. Like, we talk about that. Like, am I going to really short and put on a big position right now when I'm already short Apple and AMD pretty comfortably, and into a level that I'm not 100% sure on for Twitter? I mean, I like these levels to go short, just like I like the long down there. But I feel like you're trading a little blind if we are going to sit here and trade these names right now. So just watch out for that. I still think the 44.45 bottom, as we talked about it on the sticky note, I think that's going to be something to look at that could be possibly legit. But look at Microsoft today. The NASDAQ's up. Microsoft's not up as much, and pretty barcoding. I just want to bring everyone's attention to that 280 level. So we do have 280 on Microsoft. That's where the 50 period is. It's where VWAP is as well. So there is an area of support down there on the downside. So if there is a long possibly to catch, could be Microsoft back in. We did dance down to 279, so you're going to have to give this one a little bit of room if it does come back in, especially if you're trying to play the exact bottom. You're not going to. I think a good average is around 280, and then you watch out to see what happens there. But my shorts are just wrong right now, as here. Apple, 50 cents against me now, so that's never a good sign. And then AMD is $1 gain. Like, these were both dollar winners, and now they start to go back up to the upside as the NASDAQ is approaching that 14,000. Like we said, man, we're only 40 points away now from 14,000, and very close. We got to get out of Apple if it takes down this 166.50, so that's going to be a problem to the upside as well. And then AMD, I'm still waiting for 95 to come through, so that means I have another offer to get short. We should have probably waited to take AMD short near, that's, yeah, right here. Near that 95 level, it's going to look better on a 20-minute, that's a daily chart. This is the 20, so right into here. So that's kind of the level that I'm looking at, and we're ramping right into it. I'm going to assume also NVIDIA today is going to be stronger than the market. Yeah, that's up that 1.5% too. So NVIDIA clawing its way back. I'm hella long, like all these names. I think you were mentioning that as well. Like I own a lot of NVIDIA and AMD, but today in this market, I'm short. So, man, we're battling here. We're battling, Tony, but we're trying. We're almost tapped out of some of these shorts, man. The market just wants to go up.
And talking about bad shorts, my PayPal is now working against me. 50 cents against me as well now. So out the money, 50 cents. The Q is here absolutely ripping. I think this might actually be 336, a bottom, because, we're breaking the new highs here. Previous high of day, smashed that. We're now testing 340, previous resistance level. Ugly trend in the long term. This looks like a down channel if you want to draw some lines over here. But before I get into that, I suppose maybe a bit later when I could plan it out a little bit better. One thing I kind of want to talk about was my McDonald's trade over here, which, I haven't actually ate my breakfast this morning just because I got to fill out so many 1040s. But what this did remind me of was a coupon in my pocket. This thing says you can buy a Big Mac meal, $6.50, expires April 18. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this any different from a call option? The only thing that's different is that the price of a Big Mac isn't very volatile. But isn't this just a call option for me to go to McDonald's and say, I want to redeem this coupon, get me one Big Mac burger? They can't even refuse me because I got the coupon for it. That's my legal obligation from the writer of that call option, McDonald's, to get me a Big Mac. So I'm just thinking that's really fascinating. If anybody ever asks you to explain what you're doing trading options with them, I'd say that's a pretty decent analogy for what a call option is. So, but anyways, McDonald's today still staying very strong. Wendy's down 2.5%, unfortunately, on a downgrade over there, but Wendy's just holding strong. I remember when Wendy's was, having that tendies meme back in, June of last year, if I recall correctly.
The chicken tendies, baby.
Chicken tendies. Can't go wrong with that. I was always honestly surprised Wendy's wasn't a huge name back in the GME spike earlier in January, but unfortunately, Wendy's here down just a little bit, holding at the support level. 20 looks really strong. Anyhow, that's all for me for the time being. Passing it back to you.
Yeah, I like it. A good story there. I like that call option analogy. I'll use that to my kids because I got them couponing as well. Like it's like, oh look, we got like 6 donuts from Tim Hortons for $3.50 or something.
Right.
Got to get it, yeah, because then otherwise I say we're not getting it. So it's like I play the one against each other. But I do like that call option. What a Big Mac is normally like $11.99 or something for the combo. It's absolutely insane. But hey, I'm a shareholder in McDonald's, so Tony, yeah, you can go execute that there as owner of the company. I appreciate you using those up, and hey, I'm a value guy too. Neil's stingy, like me and Neil are stingy, so we definitely appreciate that. In a minute though, I want that story about Walmart because I was trying to tell that to my wife, and it was like Tony was saying that he was so stingy that he didn't buy 1 coat, but he bought 3 coats or something like that.
I love myself.
Yeah, anyway, that was a good one for Walmart. But let's get back on trading. Tony, see, now you've made everybody super hungry right now. All right, just so you guys know, we did take out some of that pain as we got out some 94s there on AMD. We are short. We're out of the money, 70 cents. We have to stay humble a little bit because if we're going to take 70-cent winners or more than that on the downside, then we do have to have the ability to obviously take the hit and absorb that when we're wrong, we can take 70-cent hits the other way. It doesn't always have to be like a maximum hit when we get in and get out of these names. So that's what I'm dealing with. I did want to look at Tesla really quick. Let me know if I might have missed a throw, so let me know if we are ready for Brendo. But Tesla's right back up here, right near 1,000 again. So if there's any sort of a level, maybe I have to ask Ms. V about this one because Tesla right at 1,000 again. And honestly, this is a name that can, if the market fails, the upside on this name to the downside, you can give yourself right now, even if you short it, and I'm not going to short because I'm already dug into everything else here, and my day is going to be gone those. But if you are looking for a short now, why not take Tesla like $9.94? You give it $6 worth of room, give it a little bit more than that. Let's call it $8. The downside on this move, if the futures do retrace and you get back here into VWAP, into the 50 period, is about that $10. So you're looking at a 1.5, almost 2-to-1 move on a retracement back in. So that's something that I'd be looking at right now. But as AMD comes back down, that's good. Back to 94 again. I have no idea if that actually just happened. Probably didn't. But we will go over to Brendan right now and see what's over at the big screen with a small cap recap.
I got a deadline. Lots to look at. Small cap world this morning. I was mentioning this. CASA, if you missed it, teaming up with Verizon. So Verizon taking a 10% stake in CASA today. So that was the catalyst. $6 I talked about, and then above that, $7. So we get above $6 initially. It kind of failed. I just haven't found a trade here yet. Immediately retook 7, and now we're just kind of chopping around. This is a bit of an issue down here. Volume already kind of drying out. So if it starts to hold back above, like we get a pull into 6 and we start holding 620, 615, maybe test a long versus 6, but I don't really have a trade right now for CASA. Still doing decent volume. This was the other one I was focused on this morning. INDO gave you an opportunity, I thought anyways, to test the short just versus some pre-market levels. I immediately got out of that, flipped it long. The long ends up being much better, obviously. 1.3 million float on this, so be careful to the upside. So $2.50 to the upside, depending on where you flip that short to long on INDO. Worked out pretty well. MDVL got back above that pre-market high 3 and has done nothing. It's going sideways, stuck in this range between 3 and kind of 330, 350. So MDVL also a decent mover, but not really doing anything now. Let's go back over to Tony.
Back over to me. Wow. All right. Well, you know, when you switch back over to me, I have to be talking about my bio stocks. I wake up this morning and I see the top losers. That's my shopping list. I like myself some good deals, as you guys are well aware. Nectar Therapeutics down 37% today. I believe they issued a statement saying that the company was entirely dependent on the development and commercialization of a drug that previously like failed trials or something like that. TGTX, I believe Brendan mentioned it just now on the show a moment earlier, down 22%, was down a lot more at one point. I believe they pulled the marketing or the development of one of their other names. So these bio names, you really have to be careful with them because, you know, when you hold them and you overnight, you could wake up to a very, very nasty surprise on some of these names over here. So, you know, with biotech, I think something I really want to talk about was when you want to hear of like a growth stage sort of a growth industry. I think biotech is their main one. Now down 3.5% today on the S&P Bio ETF. This ETF has absolutely crumbled. We're at the same level as we were back in 2015 on this ETF. Over time, you know, if we could take a look at the SPY, this thing, I wouldn't be surprised if it, you know, back in 2015, we can't, you know, we essentially more than doubled, or less than doubled, but more than doubled at one point. Biotech, not a very good name. I'll stop ranting about this in just a moment as we have Sean back, but all I can say to you is biotech, risky names, got to be really careful with some of them. It's my daily reminder.
Apparently got to be careful with Apple too, because you know, the Tony effect not helping this name here today as we're about to get stopped out of some of these shares. As Apple just keeps on going up, man. We talked about the futures possibly testing that 14,000, and here we go right now, right into 14,000 goes the market, and right straight upside goes Apple. So our outs are very, very close, man. Getting out right now at once, just a break right here, we should be able to get out now as we've taken down some of these highs. 166 coming through. I mean, really, realistically, you have 166.50, but I am going to lighten something up right now as Apple just getting carried away for me here. Yeah, good move upside for Apple. And I see some of you guys are happy for it. I mean, I'm happy for it too. It's just right now on the show, I am short Apple. I see you, Henry. Let's go over to Palantir real quick, as there's nothing I can do about that Apple. It's either going to go through and we get out, or it's not. Nice little move back up to the upside for Palantir, but really nothing happening on this name. So as this market just goes upside, like, it's just crazy that I'm short all these names, because normally I like to be long. Oh, and there goes Tesla too. So, you know, you could have played that break either way, really, up to 103 and now taking off. There goes Tesla, man. Straight upside moves here. I'm going to get out of some Apple if I can, as it's pulled back just a little bit. I thought I got out. Maybe I did not. No, I didn't even get filled there. I was trying to get something in the low teens, but looks like we'll miss out on that one, as Apple right now just taking off to the upside. All my shorts are getting absolutely squashed right now. So that's not great. I guess we should have looked at some of those longs, including your McDonald's up 0.32 right now. Oil starting to kind of come back a little bit here. Oil went up to 109, now come back to 107.70. But still, oil names and Oxy, those names are really working. And obviously, all these other names not, man. Here it goes. Apple's about to get stopped out. Big time movement to the upside here, taking down this 166. That really sucks. There goes Apple. We're going to get stopped out on this trade.
Wow. Like you said, Qs are just ripping at the moment. 360 or 340, I said that was resistance. Well, I don't know what I was talking about because we sliced right clean through it like a hot knife. Talking about names, even the weaker names today are rallying. The weaker names, in my opinion, double-edged sword. You know, on a really good day, you can see them flying, but on a really bad day, you know what happens to Upstart. Not doing too well, but Upstart, this name was down 4% at one point. Now it's back up. We're green, in the money. We're not in the money, but we're up 1% on the day. I wasn't in this trade, unfortunately, but I should have caught it. I thought the 80 break was toast for this name, but now we're back at 83.50, holding up really, really strong at this point. I thought this was going to be a red day for the markets. I guess the markets heard me and they're like, I'll show you, Tony. You think it's going to be a red day today? Well, you haven't seen nothing yet. But unfortunately, so for me, my PayPal not doing so well. Let me see if we can find for this moment. Actually, like I was saying about weak names, PayPal still down 0.5% today. I'm still in the money on my PayPal trade. It's at 101.85. I was short at 102.10, so I'm about 30 cents in the money here. Talk about weaker names. Sometimes you just have to, step away from the ones that aren't doing so well. Unfortunately, PayPal, in my opinion, I think for a long-term, PayPal is like a value name almost, just because we're at a 30p ratio. But again, it's with more competition coming into the fintech space and just being a really bad fintech market in general. PayPal down 70% from the highs. Curious to see what this will lead us. I want to see if it tests 92 again. Might pick up some for my long-term portfolio. See what happens to PayPal moving forward.
Yeah, you know what? Oh man, I'd hate to have gotten. Okay, yeah, good. I was going to say, I'd hate to have gotten wicked out of that Apple trade because it just touched 14,000, and then now it's starting to go back to the downside off that 14,000 touch. So I'm going to get another bit short in Apple if I can, and let's just see if we take that high out again. 166.50 is what we're going to wait on. And we did take some more, or did I get it? No, I didn't. I missed the AMD reload as well, upside, just to see what happens if we do take that out. I'll try to get some more AMD as well right here. Oh, wow. Now we're just starting to fall back down. That sucks because we did get out of that Apple trade, a little bit out of it anyways, to that upside when it did break through 166.30 was sort of the level. That was right where 14,000 was, and that appears to be a turnaround spot. So, okay, starting to come back down. We still do have shares on it, so we can make on this Apple trade. It's just that was brutal. Like, it just got us taken out. So we did get back in, and sometimes you sort of have to trust in your reads and, get out when moves go against you a little bit. But at the same time, don't be afraid to get back in if and when something happens like that. Look at Nucor today. Wow. Nucor rocking again. And I'm long this name, $95. Like, you talk about, Tony, you taking some biotech and some maybe not trustworthy type names. Nucor, about as good as it can get, man. The steel industry, infrastructure, look at this play. We knew the U.S. was going to start to build again. They're a big, big steel producer. So Nucor, nicely done to the upside and starting to take out some new levels here as we go higher and higher and higher. So definitely going to the downside now. The market trying to go to the downside, but Nucor just remaining high. So steel companies definitely with the work. And then Tesla, wow, good on this trade, man. And I talked about Tesla and that we like Tesla moving forward. So here it goes, straight back up to the upside. There was obviously that risk being sub 1,000, but now that you've broke through 1,000 here, look at this move on the 20-minute. It's just been a monster from 985 all the way straight back up. Upside right now on the 1 minute. There it goes. You had a little bit of, that's where we started talking about maybe worth taking the short, but boom, that blows up to the upside as well. So right now, I'm short the market, but Tesla with a big move to the upside. Let me just check Rivian quickly, because if that popped, that's another name that I don't mind going short in. Rivian still down that 4%. Now we've gotten some shortable shares. So watch out. Rivian, $41 high there. Definitely something to look at. But yeah, good short coming maybe in Rivian if we do break below this 38.80. What else do you want to talk about here? What else?
Nucor. Well, I
you're looking at steel.
No, you got me into steel. I'm taking a look at American Aluminum, or Alcoa Corporation. I believe that stands for Aluminum Corporation of America, Alcoa. That's my thoughts. I think I read it somewhere. This name, if you want a cyclical name, though, this is it. This thing was $5 from the bottom, March 2020. If you want a momentum name, like this blue chip name now it seems like it's hit $89, hit a high of just about $198, 52-week high. These names don't follow the S&P much. I mean, I know Alcoa cooled off a little bit, but Nucor, like you're saying, steel. I was surprised to see that this is actually surging. We're here at, I'm not even sure what the market cap is on this company, probably not too, at $44 billion. It's pretty big for a steel name. I saw that in China. The construction was down. In China, there's a huge real estate bubble. I believe one of the names forgot what it was. It was like one of the largest real estate, I think Evergrande. That was like huge in the news not so long ago. So I thought it was like a crisis in some parts of this world with the with construction and you know, some of the commodities. I know iron ore, I think mostly produced in Australia, if I'm correct, you know, prove me wrong if you, or I stand correct if you prove me wrong, but that has been down 50% from last I saw. That was back last year. But construction doesn't look to be slowing down anytime here in the States, at least. Nucor, Alcoa, a lot of the other material names doing very, very strong from what I can see here.
Brendo or Ms. V, what's up?
All right, 10:30, guys. Coming up in 15 minutes. Make sure you don't go anywhere because we have Ben Samaru coming through once again from WonderFi. More deal making on the table today for WonderFi in the Canadian landscape. So he's going to talk all about a brand new deal, Coinberry, picking up Coinberry on an all-stock transaction. They're going to talk a little bit about what that means for the space in general in this country going forward. So Ben Samaru coming up in about 15 minutes, guys.
WonderFi. So you got a question about crypto before. So WonderFi, obviously, they bought that. Wasn't it BitBuy, I believe?
BitBuy, yes.
BitBuy, they bought.
It just closed, I think, back in March.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll have WonderFi on there. Stock's been going to the downside, as a lot of these companies, and we'll hear from Ben. You know, the newer startups. We did talk a little bit about that. So we'll hear about WonderFi coming up with Ben in 15 minutes. That's great. Great to have him on for sure. Smart dude. And if you have any crypto questions or anything like that, we'll try to address the chat. But I know Brendan has some scheduled stuff with him. So Ben Samaru, good name there coming through from WonderFi. So definitely something to look at. And I'm WonderFiing with myself right now and WonderFiing why exactly am I short AMD when this market just keeps on ripping to the high side here. I feel like it wants to test me at 95. And honestly, man, you're going to win AMD if you do that. If you just keep on climbing up to 95, we did relieve some pain there at 94. We talked about that. We got reloaded thinking that this 14,000 would hold. And by I mean hold to the top side, and then hopefully we'll retrace back down in. But right now, yeah, it's a... yeah, not a short day for me, for sure. As well, we're okay. We took a good trade off Twitter off the open as that just started to go back down. You can see Twitter right now trying to dance again off that 47. That appears to continuously be a good short, man. Up here around that 47. I think you got to give it to 48, but it looks like it's coming back in. I just worry a little bit there about the risk of the shareholders and the voting and other random things like that. I got to shout out to Ms. V, who not only got me a tea, but also a coffee. About 30 minutes ago. So thank you to Ms. V for that as well. We're going to have a good midday show coming up. But for right now, man, I'm just sitting in a bunch of losers. And I guess that is what makes me one. Because right now, Rivian is a new short for me. We thought it was going to break lower. It didn't. It's not really gone against me. It's gone against me the most 10 cents or something like that. So not really too worried about it. But again, I want to be short Rivian. They're down that 4% here today. And again, like I don't see these markets like getting back up north side again. So hey, if Rivian does and it comes and takes out this 40-20, then we can get out of that one after once again another nasty hit. So we'll average into Rivian if we can get it around this 39.50 area. I actually had a 39.30, but let's see. That's just where that is. Let's see if we can pop into this area before fading back down. We got to be a little more patient with some of our takes here as they haven't been great yet. Ford is a name I like above 15, so that's a name that could get going. I do like that 1580 level. We talked about that on a 20-minute chart. Look how good this looks right here, taking out this 1580. If that goes, man, we could fly a lot higher. So I'm definitely waiting on that 1580 level here for Ford. So that's a level to look at. But right now, Rivian, AMD, and Apple just continue to move up as the NASDAQ is not turning away from 14,000. It's actually trying to make another run right at it.
NASDAQ holding up super strong at the moment, down just a little bit from the highs there. We make a high wick all the way at 341. Keep on saying 694 for some reason. But here, I think this is a trade that I would call hand warm, to use the beer analogy again, where it's like you've been having a nice trade. It's been a nice, enjoyable trade. You're holding a beer in your hand, beer being a trade. A little bit too long, so it's got a little bit warm maybe. You want to put it back in the cooler just a little bit, come back to it in like 10, 15 minutes, see if it's time to take another sip. Because Q's now up 1% from the lows. I think this might be a time for some profit taking if you are long. I'm still short on my PayPal. But going back to PayPal just a moment, again, going back to what I was saying about some of the weaker names, $1 in the money for me. Now 101, I was short a while earlier back at back around this level. No, I was short at 102 actually, keep forgetting the ones and the twos. I'm dollar in the money on this trade. Talk about a weak name. The CFO, I believe John Rainey, was just snatched from them by Walmart. I believe it was last Thursday or Wednesday, and we were talking about how this was a weak name. It was down 4% a while ago, when a huge gap down here, as you guys remember back from last Wednesday. Continuation to the downside. Looks like we are about to test 100 again. PayPal, I mean, I used them a lot back in the day. Now you have a lot more options, I feel like, if you want to do cash payments, transfers, all that sort of thing with fintech, a lot more competition in the space. We shall see where this goes, but I am going to still hold short on this name, even if the market looks like it wants to rally, because this name just does not look like it wants to do anything today but go down. So we shall see where this goes. But going back to Tesla for just a moment here, I've been noticing this slice clean through the 1,000 level. All these even dollar breaks, I've been trying to think to my mind about these support resistance levels. You would think 1,000 is a massive level here, but on 15-minute chart, we had absolutely no resistance whatsoever, but we are cooling off just a little bit here. I believe with the rest of the markets, if we go back to the Qs, up just 0.5% now, was a bit higher, cooling off a little bit. But I think the market's here a little bit mixed. I do not think that the SPYs or the Qs, spiders or the Qs would be up more than 1% either direction today. We've seen a lot of volatility at the open. Might be quiet for midday show. We gotta see what happens at the close with these indices.
All right. Yeah, look, we talked about the Qs right now, testing that 14,000. I think it's going to be hopefully a move to the downside, but I ain't no fool, I guess. As AMD comes back down, we're starting to get some more out here. Our average price is fine. Like, we're short at 65, right? I mean, we haven't really taken anything out. This can come right back in, so I'm not super worried. What I'm just really worried about is the NASDAQ not falling right now. So we'll take a little bit more out. We're getting close to that 50 period. As you can see, it's definitely turning upside right there. And we did the same thing as well on Apple, as it's shelving out right now. And this is scary for me because the moves have always been upside. Like, here we go. We went short into here. It tried to base out at 165.60. Then it took that level and went to the upside. So I'm just nervous that the same thing is going to happen here, especially if the NASDAQ just turns. This is going to rifle back up, and I'm going to be stuck getting out at 166.50 again. So Apple right now not moving properly, in my opinion anyways. That report was supposed to be a negative one. That does not look like a negative report to me for Apple today. Supply chain issues, I guess that's not happening. So yeah, Apple continues to be a strong name to that upside. Tesla's still bouncing around that 1,005. Let's take a look at Softy quickly, as there is Tony's life lessons. Yep, very, very important, Rainmaker, to make note of that. I still like Microsoft for the long if we can get back in. Right now, again, I can't go long Microsoft now at these levels because then one of two things is going to happen. Either I get blown out of Apple or our Microsoft works. So it's like, it's not really a good hedge. We talked about this last week. And that's why I think crypto is decent to look at as well. Because like, if you think the NASDAQ's going down, you don't want to buy Microsoft or Apple now, or even your Coinbase, anything like that. You want to stay like in names. We talked about it, energy, metals, healthcare, names that are actually working, products that actually produce something, right? And on that note, crypto's been holding out pretty good, near that 40 for Bitcoin and 3,000 for Ethereum. And there's many other names as well that can come through. So, when I look at a stock like Microsoft, I really like the name, but if we don't believe in the NASDAQ, then you can't go long any of these names either. So Rivian did go in the money for us a little bit there, as it went down to 68 or so. We're only short at 82, so only went in the money about 15 cents. For me, I have a target of Rivian literally near the bottom of the day. So, but wow, okay, see, here we go. Now the market's starting to pick back up again. So yeah, my account's back into the red here, as these shorts won't work if this market just keeps on going north side. I feel like there was no good news with Russia. I feel like there's only been bad news out there, but that doesn't seem to be affecting the stocks right now. But Brendan's got news over there at the big board. Let's throw over to him.
Hey guys, yeah, we'll have a couple of looks here at individual sectors performing a little bit better than the rest, as we say, so far today. This is the energy sector, just an overall price performance chart here of the day for energy stocks. I wanted to highlight this section, though. It's kind of hard to see. I need to blow this up a little bit, but individually, basically the entire group, as far as the main performers in the energy group, in positive territory versus 1, 2, to the downside here. So a nice day so far for energy stocks, as we were talking about in the pre-market, guys, with crude oil. XLF, another one showing some strength as well. Financials back in positive territory on the day overall, 0.3 to the upside after a bit of a pullback on the XLF back to 36.80. I mentioned some of the retail names showing strength early on. XRT, however, has given all that back and then some. We did have a move higher initially, but that has faded all the way back to 75.20. So to the downside now for individual retail stocks underperforming the overall market. XLE, look at basically the same chart as showed you there right off the bat. But energy stocks, definitely the winners on the day so far, guys, still holding up quite nicely. Back over to you.
Right. Yeah, we talked. Yeah, time to look. Yeah, you're right, Felipe. There, time to look at industrials, man. I mean, and that's a good point there from Brendan as well. The XLE continues to march, and that's exactly like I got in, Tony, into ZEO, which is Bank of Montreal. It's Toronto. It's this very, very similar gas and oil ETF, and this name for me. Don't tell me now. Okay, it's loading on the daily chart, but look at this. It's just straight up. I mean, it's exactly like the XLE. We got into this one in early March. This is the one. This is where it's 54 bucks. I was confused when I was looking at XLE earlier. I was like, 54, that seems right, but it's not. So right in there for ZEO, just a march straight to the high side, paying about a 3% dividend. But you could see the volume is a little bit of a problem. 300 shares
300
today
shares. How can you
for
trust
ZEO?
it?
So that's not me. I didn't buy anything today. But again, a decently liquid name. It doesn't look like it, but look at the levels. There's lots of size here. So that goes to Brendan's point about XLE, of course. And that's just rocking again today, up 0.78. And we talked about this earlier on when we started the show, right? It was a stay long energy. You didn't have any problems with it earlier. Why would it become a problem now? So energy, a nice little bump up there. When oil got to 108, 109, it made a brand new high. Now it's faded back in and looks like it's barcoding. But if you're going to trade oil, you know, there's bigger names as well, like Oxy. Occidental's been rocking. We had that 61 pegged, and for some reason we didn't take it. It ripped all the way to 63 bucks. Now fading back in. You could see oil still up 0.6. But Oxy, this is not a bad level right here for Oxy, actually down to $60.50. So this could be a good level for Occidental, supporting the 60. If you like oil names, man, this looks like a decent opportunity right now to get into some Oxy off of that 60 bottom.
Occidental Petroleum, what a name we have today. Still up 2%. We were up a lot more at $1.63. Tried to test that level, broke right back down. But now, like Sean said, I think I like this level a lot too. We're almost back to some support levels back here in this range. We're trading at this level quite a bit. I'd imagine that this could help us stay this level a bit longer before we move back up to the high side. But right, talking about a sector rotation, I don't think I've seen a bigger one where we went from tech, everything growth, everything that's like small cap. Back in 2020, 2021, SPAC mania, that was a huge play I remember back seeing not that long ago, where it's pretty much you just buy anything that's pre-SPAC. You can buy into like SPAC IPOs, and you know for certain they're winners, because these things were trading at premiums even before a DA was announced. SPAC names now, on the other hand, I remember there's ETF for that, not doing so well. A lot of the names I've been looking at, they're all been trading at $10, now a lot lower. RMO was something I actually wanted to look at for a long time. Romeo Power, people are saying that this was founded by, or at least co-founded by some former Tesla engineers. I remember back when this thing was at $38. Obviously for SPAC markets, looking nothing but cold. This is, you know, a beer we're never taking back out of the freezer because there's no life in any of these like items left. But going back to, I remember one of the stocks I've been actually talking about on Friday. I think what biotech is, there's risk, but at times there's reward. I was questioning why the heck this name called Frequency Therapeutics, which I own for full disclosure, was trading at half its cash value. They have $80 million in the bank and their market cap's $50. I was wondering why the heck that was. Well, it looks like market agrees with me because today it's up 20% at one point, absolutely ripping on elevated volume, not crazy volume, but a million shares traded, $1 stock. A lot of these biotech names I've been noticing trading below cash value. Looks like a bit of a rebound. In my opinion, this might be a decent name to hold just if you want you know, something relatively safe, since it shouldn't go below cash value ideally if someone wants to buy it out and issue a full dividend to all the shareholders. But I've been proven wrong again on some of these names. So today it's ripping 20%. Tomorrow could go right back down. So be careful, full disclosure with all these names. You want to know what you're holding, and that's my model. Yeah,
I love the beer fridge analogy. Well, if you could have one beer, or like what would be your favorite beer? Like let's just think about the ones you're serving.
I'm serving all Corona Corona and Stella seems to be really popular among certain individuals. Budweiser, Bud Light, also two really big names. And I'm noticing, you know, a lot of guys, they come in and it's like, shoot, what my girlfriend wants? She's sitting in the washroom right now, or she's at the game, she's watching a game. I'm going to get something for my girlfriend. What should I get her? Oh, I know, I'm going to get a Mike's Hard Blue Freeze. And I'm thinking, I like those girly drinks, the ones that like taste really nice. You know, I don't want it like a Budweiser.
So that's popular with the ladies, the Mike's Hard Blue Freeze.
Might be popular with me soon. I'm going to check it out myself.
All right, without any further ado, we've got a special guest of the day, and we're going to throw it over to Brendan at the big desk.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, happy to have our friends from WonderFi back with us this morning, announcing another deal this morning to acquire Toronto-based Coinberry, a crypto exchange, 38.5 million notional in shares, all share transaction. Very happy to have Ben Samaru, co-founder and CEO of WonderFi, back on the show to tell us all about this. Growing the company's Web3 user base, I guess here, Ben, you can explain this a little bit more though, to 750,000 registered users now, which is a huge number to say the least. Great to have you as always.
Yeah, great to be here, Brendan.
Tell us about this. What do we take from this news this morning? What does this mean overall as far as the company's efforts or continued efforts to move further in this direction?
So this is a big step for us. We closed the acquisition of BitBuy on March 24th, so just a few weeks ago, and that was the first licensed acquisition of a crypto trading platform in Canada. So definitely precedent setting, also in North America. And this is really the next step in that consolidation. So this, as you said, this brings us almost 1 million users across the WonderFi ecosystem. And we're at over 180 staff across Canada. So I believe we're the largest employer of crypto professionals across the country. And this is a really important step for us to establish ourselves as the leading crypto platform in Canada. And the vision there is basically being able to be relevant globally. So for us to be able to expand into global markets, we need a large Canadian presence. And you know, what you see in the market right now is a fragmentation of all these different players trying to compete with globals in Canada and then in other jurisdictions, which is very difficult given that size. So this creates a lot of economies of scale for WonderFi as we continue this consolidation.
So the deal alone, adding 220,000 registered users to the already massive number that we mentioned earlier, and 100 million in assets under custody as of the end of last year, Ben. I think, and you made a good point there in that I think some of the confusion and difficulty that some people from the outside may be having with this space in general is just the massive amount of options there are and so much information out there. Tell us how this acquisition might help to kind of bring people all in to that same place and give them what they need, in a one-stop shop, basically.
That's exactly right. I think one of the biggest complaints that we get from users that access digital assets is that they need to have multiple accounts on multiple sites, platforms, keys, passwords, and managing this becomes a huge issue. It's just like banking. If you have multiple accounts and investment accounts, it becomes unwieldy to manage. And so what we're doing across all of these multiple brands and products is creating unified access. So being able to use single sign-on across BitBuy, Coinberry, WonderFi, and other products that we are launching and going to be rolling into the company. It creates a much more friendly user experience for people. It's more secure. You don't have to be providing personal information, very sensitive information to many different companies and creating a bunch of different exposure points. So it's really bringing everything within this unified umbrella and just creating this compliant access to crypto, which I think is really important for users, because I think the lack of compliance or the risk of feeling like you're dealing with a non-compliant platform, it's keeping users out of the space. And then also for investors, a lot of investors that we talk to, they're interested in crypto, they're maybe invested in miners, and they understand that business model and what that entails, but they're staying out of investing in the picks and shovels, the platforms, exchanges that WonderFi represents. And that's a really important thing, because I think people are worried about investors are worried about price exposure to Bitcoin and that volatility, which you see with miners. But with the picks and shovels you make money when markets are volatile, and so that's the message that we're trying to get across to investors and to the market, and something that we're trying to create, this clear investment vehicle for the market looking for exposure to that.
And from an investor standpoint, Ben, it's important to mention maybe that, one of the biggest hurdles that continues to be in this space is the security aspect. And as you were saying, giving them the ability to have one login, a safer environment to do these transactions in is massive. And talk a little bit about maybe on the transaction side, what are some of the benefits that investors are going to gain here as far as, features that are available and some of the fees maybe?
Yeah, so this basically makes our products more diverse and just a deeper set of functionality that's available to users across the WonderFi ecosystem. So the single sign-on integration that we talked about really is just that the big barrier for people getting in. It's just being able to cross that barrier of getting an account that gives you access to crypto, and then once you've entered that world, now you can access products across BitBuy, Coinberry, WonderFi, and we're really just diversifying that access. And I think that's something that we don't see a lot of companies doing, which is providing access to crypto, DeFi, some of the more high growth areas within digital assets like NFTs and play to earn gaming. And we're really we see all of those as meshing very well together and belonging within the same ecosystem. And that's what we're doing and sort of representing here.
You touched on it briefly earlier. I want to get your thoughts, though, on the regulatory aspect of this, and what does it say maybe going forward as far as the confidence that regulators are willing to, put into transactions like this, and what does that say as far as an investor goes to have that confidence behind them?
I think our closing of the BitBuy acquisition it definitely was precedent setting to get the regulatory approval to acquire a licensed crypto platform. So having moved past that, I think we see that this is going to be a much shorter timeline to approval on the acquisition of Coinberry, which is obviously a positive thing for both companies and for investors as well. And I think more broadly, this means that there is certainty around being able to grow through consolidation within Canada and globally. We're talking to a lot of regulators in different jurisdictions that are looking to Canada as a stable jurisdiction from a regulatory perspective and from a market perspective, and like what BitBuy and the OSC have done with their license in terms of the way that it's structured, and the same with Coinberry. And so a lot of those conversations are other jurisdictions looking to make sure they're keeping up pace with Canada, and then in anticipation of the US issuing licenses, wanting to be there in line and ready to go so that they're not lagging behind. So I think it's really encouraging for regulation kind of across the globe.
More to come. Obviously, an exciting time for the space, an exciting time for the company as well, guys. Check them out, WNDR on the NEO Exchange. Remember, you can find them on FTX as well, WNDR, and the OTC markets. Ben Samaru, co-founder and CEO of the company. Congratulations, Ben. Another great story for the company itself. We look forward to the next visit.
Thanks, Brendan.
Have a great day. WonderFi, guys.
I like that, the picks and shovels. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Coinbase, we talked about that a little bit, but yeah, all these currencies got to get supported, right? I mean, all these tokens got to get supported, and some very good news there. And I knew that BitBuy was huge for them, so it looks like that's exactly sort of the news that as a shareholder, you're looking for to get more users under there. And just like you mentioned there, in volatile markets, it's more trading. It's more happening back and forth. So we'll see if the crypto markets can get moving a little bit again. And I know there's a lot of volume going through. There's a lot of options right now to trade. I was just saying to you as well there, Tony, that yeah, pretty lucky. Is it lucky? I don't know. But, some of these markets now starting to come back down. Right. We had to hold out for pretty high. I've made back double what I was down at that point. So, or I should say half my loss. So, if I was down 1,000, now I'm only down 500, so on and so forth. So just as an example of what I'm trying to talk about. As right now we're coming back in. And notice I didn't trade like a maniac here. Normally I'm out. But, you know, I do believe in the short, so let's see if we can come back down right now. We have a nice little winner on Rivian. This one did go against us, but whatever. We just got out here on the bottom of this move, so I'm hoping that Rivian can retrace even further. This might not be the winner that I'm hoping for. On the NASDAQ fall down, I had really hoped that Rivian would follow suit. Doesn't appear to be doing that, so might have missed a little something on that one. Apple's starting to get lower lows now off of these bumps. So obviously we're talking about lower lows on the day. We'd like to be down here at 164, but we don't have. This is 1, 2, 3. It's like 6 or 7 candles in a row now mixed in with one green. Hopefully Apple can come back in. And what I'm really looking at as far as a low would be to take down this 165.40. So if we can get through there, I don't even have a bid there. I'm going to put one in because that's like this is a pretty key level right now. We had to get through where we were the first time, and if we can get back in and these futures can hold this 50 period, then yeah, I believe Apple comes back down in here. So it's been a good little rebound for me over the last little while. Great interview there. Let's go over to the big desk.
All right, a few notable names as far as earnings. As we said, guys, coming up this week, there are monster ones to get to, but that is what we are looking forward to tonight and tomorrow morning.
All right, let me see, Tony, what we like on there. We got Hasbro, we've got Johnson & Johnson,
Wow.
Fifth Third Bank. You don't have any loans out there, do you?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Maybe a good thing not with them.
Yeah, and then Halliburton. I mean, yeah, so it looks like you sort of got a little bit of everything there. We've got some financials. We've got the toys, the Hasbro. Favorite toy as a kid?
Oh, favorite toy. I'm collecting Hot Wheels. I still collect Hot Wheels.
Oh, my kid just got a nice Hot Wheel on the weekend.
Did he? Oh.
Yeah, we went to an Easter egg hunt, and he said he got like a limited edition one. Are they doing those now?
I think so. I mean,
think so now too. Yeah, so
I see a lot of varieties.
Hot Wheels. You know what I used to have? I used to have one of those carry cases. It was, if I could find, oh man, how much would this be worth? It was a circular. It was like a wheel, and you opened it up, and there was little compartments for all the cars. And then I also had. Again, it was really gangster. Like it's not mechanical or anything like that. It was one of those ramps that you could have with the turning, the loop-de-loop that it had in there. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, I hope all of you started the new week with some great profits. Please don't go anywhere, and let's continue trading together at Market Movers. Also, please make sure you like this video. I see so much love on the chat for Tony. So guys, if you didn't like this video yet, please do so, and happy National Animal Crackers Day.
Animal Crackers Day.
Wait, what do you think about animal crackers?
Oh, I had them as a kid. They were like all the rage. I swear among everybody.
Great.
They are. They certainly are. I think.
I'm down with animal crackers. Favorite animal? Mine's polar bear.
Polar bear. Jeez, I forgot what they had all the way back
No,
there.
I don't care. I don't know if they have it. Just favorite
all right,
animal.
favorite
overall.
animal. Jeez, I
Polar
don't know.
bears for me.
Is there like a person animal cracker? That'd be pretty cool.
Your favorite animal is a person?
Nah, I mean, I like being a human, you know? It's
Okay,
like
me too.
I can't trade if I was like a polar bear.
I'm not asking you what you'd like to be. I'm just saying what's your favorite.
Sorry. I don't know what I'm getting on a different tangent. I'll go with bird. I like to fly.
Right.
Birds
Many
cool.
different species of bird, but that's a good one. What's up, Brendan?
Animal crackers, we're talking?
I just ask. Yeah, you like animal crackers first of all?
I can't even remember the last time I had one, but sure, why not?
Okay, and then I asked Tony what my favorite animal overall is a polar bear.
Oh, okay. I mean, I
because
gotta say
apparently
dog.
they hunt humans. So what are you going to go with?
I gotta say dog. I have
Dog.
to.
Okay,
Dog,
dog.
okay, that's
so we're going with dog and bird. So two very, very generic. You know, I'm changing mine. Bear. Bear is my favorite right now. I'm going to go with a bear. Although I do prefer bull as well. So look, it's been a fantastic show. Tony, obviously, you know, from me to you, thank you so much for stepping up. I mean, and I honestly knew, like when I was scrambling here trying to find a replacement, I kind of in the back of my head, I was like, you know what, Tony's going to almost no matter what want to do this. So I do got to give thanks. It does take a lot to sit here and do this. So a big thank you to Tony and a big thank you, obviously, to all of our viewers for sort of putting up with some of the chaos. But hey, I think it went much better than expected.
Absolutely, and so thanks for having me on. First of all, it's been an absolute honor to be here today, I gotta say, and a thank you again to all our viewers. The show would absolutely not be the same without all of you guys. So thank you so much for all your support, your super chats here. I'm floored by all the charity, or not charity, I suppose, but all the kindness that has been shown to us here on the show and on the chat. So thank you again so much for all that. Truly, I'm really grateful. I've been getting a lot more confidence in my personal life from all the chat and read. I'm talking to a lot more people, few more girls as well. I've been getting over my social anxiety, so thank you so much for that.
Here we go. Well, yeah, it doesn't appear to have any anxiety, and yeah, I have social anxiety as well, so I'm with you on that one. No, I don't, but
yeah, of course you don't.
I'm going to come, and I want to get one of those overpours as well when I come to the Sky Dome. So are people still calling it Sky Dome or Rogers Center? I think
some people refuse to call it.
Some people refuse as well. Okay, look, not only did you have a good show now, you're about to actually have an even better show. An absolutely fantastic show. Hopefully it's going to be taken over by, I think it's like a three-headed monster over there at some point. Could come through, but right now it's going to be Luca on the big desk as Trader Prad. Get well soon. He should be back. I don't know. I'm not going to call when, but hopefully tomorrow. But for now, we've got Luca, we've got Ms. V, and it's over there at the Market Movers show. Kill it, guys.
Hey guys, welcome back everyone. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, great Easter, and welcome back. Please, as usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, smash the like button. Luca will start the show with me. So
what's going on, everybody? Hopefully everyone having a great Monday. Hopefully everybody had a relaxing weekend. My weekend was full of a lot of fish, a lot of meat, a lot of time spent with family. It was a lot of fun times, yeah.